All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics of Local America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it is time for All Politics of Local. But more importantly, y'all know if it is the fourth Friday, y'all know it's time for the disciples. Of course, with your host, of course, our beloved brother Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad, our Councilwoman-At-Large, Reverend Roundtree, and then, of course, our sister, the First Lady, Balena Lee. Of course, those are your hosts for the Disciples. So tonight we're going to do a 2 hour special, which is going to be all the disciples. First up, they're going to have some guests that they're going to talk to you about. And then in the second hour, we're going to try to do a celebration of life for two outstanding men of God, of course, Bishop Jackson and Reverend Carter here in the city of Newark. So we're going to go ahead and pass the show off to them, and we'll be working trying to get their guest on as the night go on. All right, y'all. Give it up to our brother Minister Abdul-Haqq.
Thank you, Brother Ed. We appreciate you tremendously, you as well as your family, for your consistency and your dedication and your hard work there, brother, not just here in the disciples, but, all throughout the community, the tri-state area, so much that you do and trying to, improve the quality of life for our people and humanity. So we definitely thank God for you and your family. Thank God much for you. Also, we thank you, Reverend Roundtree, for being on, and Sister Ali. For all of those who are familiar that this is the fourth week, another week for our Disciples show. We thank everybody in the listening audience for your patience, for your consistency, for tuning in every fourth Friday to be with us. So we thank you all. Once again, my name is Brother Abdul-Haqq Muhammad. I'm the student minister of the Honorable Minister Louise for the Muhammad Mosque of Islam, number 25, which is located here in the city of Newark, New Jersey. So again, we thank each and every one of you, everyone in our listening audiences for tuning in. We appreciate you tremendously. We don't take your time for granted. Again, we thank you all. We pray that Almighty God will forgive us if we forget or make a mistake. But in these trying and perilous times, we thank God for granting us another opportunity to be on. But that's me. I know you all are familiar with Reverend Roundtree and Sister Ali, but I'll let them, reintroduce themselves to you all. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening to my beloved minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad, to my one and only brother Ed Riley. He thought it not robbery to make sure that this conversation took place. We got to figure out what date it started. Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad with our beloved Pastor Brian Ali, pastor in the hood. Some years ago, the visionary came on and said, Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad, I want to start a show. And I want to thank God for the direction and the wisdom and the spiritual leading of Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad to invite myself and, of course, Pastor Ali to join him in the effort of the disciples. My name is Reverend Louise Scott-Rountree, Councilmember-At-Large for the city of Newark. Of course, I'm associate at Good Neighbor Baptist Church, founder of the Newark Interfaith Alliance, and servant to all of the people. Honored to be here with my sister, Lady Balena Ali. I'm going to pass the mic as we move forward on this. All politics are local. America's number one political hip hop political radio station. It's in your hands, Lady Ali.
Good evening, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for having me on again. The last couple of Fridays or the last couple of shows, I've been MIA. One night I couldn't even get on, but I'm glad I'm here tonight. I want to thank everybody for listening and listening to the audience. Um, Thank y'all for having me. I'm a member of the New Psalmist Worship Center Fellowship. Um, my husband was Dr. Bryant Rashid Ali, and I thank God in His remembrance that y'all allowed me to come on to be a disciple with you all, and I thank God for what God is doing in my life and how He is leading me to lead with the people and with my pastor Jaleel Marrow, and I'm just glad to be here tonight.
Thank you so much, Sister Ali. We appreciate you tremendously. and all that you
Yes.
have contributed to our show, even when Pastor Ali, may God be pleased with him, was here with us. He's still with us in spirit. He
That's
was
right.
always
Amen.
a staunch
Amen.
supporter, aider, and assister and helper. We appreciate you tremendously, and we're praying for you and your family, during this season with families are gathering. And we know that, definitely he's here with us in spirit, but it's nothing like having that physical being and present being with us. So we
Amen.
definitely keeping you in our prayers,
True.
and our well
Thank you.
wishes, you and your family. Definitely in the light of the news, as Brother Ed said, those two spiritual giants and illuminaries
Yes.
that we just lost. We know you
Yes.
definitely are an example and will be an example for their family members, and losing someone that has such a great and profound impact on the community. And brothers and sisters, again, we thank you for being with us here at the Disciple Show. We are men and women are striving to be men and women of God, so we strive to be responsible, uh, very equitable, very just, as we strive to take on and talk about some of these pressing issues that we are facing in this modern day and time. So we have scheduled to be with us tonight, Sister Amina Bay. Sister Amina Bay, she's no stranger to the citizens of Newark, New Jersey. We all know her mother, Amina Bay, a very, very profound, impactful woman in terms of activism and being a voice for the voiceless here in the city of Newark, New Jersey. And her daughter is cut from that same cloth. Their family history and roots run very deep in the city of Newark, New Jersey. Very, very deep, very impactful. They had a very impactful organization, Women in Support of the Million Man March, where they acquired some very historical properties here in the city of Newark, New Jersey. Sister Amina Bay, as well as her mother, Frederica Bay, and their family, have been very, very impactful. They contributed a lot to the brothers and sisters here in Newark, New Jersey, in terms of the conscious awareness and just showing us our potential in terms of what we can do when we unite, when we are fearless, when we are courageous, and when we have faith in God. We know that their family was opposed. Their organization suffered a lot of opposition. Many were very adversarial to what it is that they wanted to do, but with their faith and trust in God and inspiration from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Main Man March, they were able to do that which some of us may have deemed impossible. So again, she's supposed to be with us tonight. I don't
She
know
is. She should
if
be here.
she should be here
That's all to
shortly.
be in 6.
Six. So we're waiting for her, but we are so happy that she was victorious, that God blessed her with the victory, and the community supported her. We supported her. We're very thankful that God blessed her again. Her work speaks for itself. She's not someone that just popped up. She's been leading for a very long time, other areas in the city council, and before that, she's been around the movement. Brother Ed, I know you can speak to that, knowing her for as long as you've known her. Again, her pedagogy, is
And
one that many don't
Minister Huck,
get. Yes,
I don't know
ma'am.
if you said that she's the first Muslim elected, and I
Muslim.
know,
That's
yeah,
right.
and I know it. We seen Rahman had brought it up, and Al Tariq had brought it up during their show that if so now it has happened. Hey, Lady Balena and
Hey, how you doing?
Councilwoman-At-Large and everybody, but that she
Well, you
is the
just jumped
first.
right on in. Good evening,
Yeah, I just
Donna.
because I don't
You
want
done jumped in.
I don't want to. Well, when they brought that to our attention, I was actually surprised because Newark is a big Muslim city, but I don't want us to gloss over that.
Oh,
Oh,
don't worry.
definitely.
Well, if you done stole our thunder, you done came on to Disciples and broke into our conversation, didn't even introduce yourself, didn't give Minister Abdul-Haqq a chance for either one of us to say it when the sister got here. But we can say it over and over and over again because we wanted to
Yeah,
resonate. Somebody's got some feedback, and I don't know whether it's a
I
line
think we all
open.
got a cue.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is that we want to say it so people will understand and get it. Not just the Christian community, but for sure the Muslim community, because this is it is just like the just like New York and other areas that are now embracing, whether some want them to or not, that we cannot just base things on the merit of religion.
Right.
That part.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like when Barack Obama ran for president, and folks were saying, Roundtree, I know we all voting because he's black. I said, whoa, hold on. What's the matter? He can't be black and qualified? I'm going to always say that. It's the same when Raz Baraka ran for governor. When the mayor ran for governor, he can't be black and qualified. Let's not get it twisted. Thank God that in this time, she's not on yet. I'm getting ready to text her and find out where she at. Because I told her 6, then I said 6:15. That's all between 6 and 6:15. We do introductions. But and I
And I
am
was
reaching
like,
out on the
I was
sidebar.
like,
On the sidebar, I am reaching out to Dr. Boyer, Brother Ed, Minister Abdul, and Lady Balena, because he had a very close relationship with Bishop Reginald Jackson. So I am reaching out. I talked to him earlier. I just want to see, can we confirm him coming on, because that was his mentor, and then a couple of people in reference to Pastor Joe Carter for our second portion. But the one person I'm getting ready to call right now is our sister and say, where you at?
well, while you're calling her, I wanted to ask, when I said that, I wanted to ask Minister Hawk. So now she's the first in Newark. Is how many do I think there was a poster, and I think in New York that was the first elected Muslim mayor. How many elected Muslims have we seen with this election in November? Do you happen to know that?
I don't have the actual
Well, that would
facts
have
on it.
been
I
nice if
seen
you did the research. So you should have came on our show and told us.
Sister Donna, we
Mhm.
thank you, but Reverend Roundtree, she's sticking to that Christian adage that's written in the scripture, that all things be done decently and in order.
In
She's
order.
sticking to
Okay.
that, and
Yes,
she ain't
sir.
letting up off of you, sister. And
I see.
I see our sister. I see our sister is here with us. Sister Mina, we could not
Yes,
give you the adequate introduction that you deserve. No, seriously, sister, because you didn't just pop up. You
that's
understand?
right.
You've
That's
been on the
right.
scene of leadership for a very, very long time here in the city of
That's
Newark, New
right.
Jersey. You've done tremendous work, tremendous things, and this is just another realm or facet of your work. Your family history runs very deep in the city of Newark, New Jersey, as well as Reverend Roundtree. Newark is big, but it's small. So, we just was talking about you, and Sister Donna came in, and she ain't let us. It's the first Muslim. She told
The
us, and we was
first, the
gonna
first,
get
the
to it.
first, the first, the first.
We was gonna get to it, Sister Amina. We can't forget that. But Sister Donna brought that in, and we appreciate her contributions to our show and the disciples. So we see you here with us, sister, and we thank you. And I don't want to waste any more time. So, it's yours, dear sister. Anything that you would like to say as an introduction, or
Well, thank you. First of all, I apologize. I was apparently backstage at some other studio or show. So, so I apologize for that. But no, the first thing I want to do is just say thank you for the support. I've been on this, I call it my tour of gratitude. So I've been, going around, going back to people, because a lot of people say that people come and they ask for support and they ask for vote, and then they don't come back and say thank you. They don't come back and say, okay, how can we work together? They don't come back and say, what can we do? And so the first thing I want to do is show appreciation, because your vote is sacred. You didn't have to do it. You didn't have to vote for me. You didn't have to show up to events. You didn't have to fundraise. You didn't have to do any of those things. So the first thing is to say thank you. The second thing is to just make sure that people know and understand that, like I said, when I was sworn in, that this moment is not lost on me to be the first Muslim elected to the Newark Municipal Council. That's huge. There's a very, very large Muslim population in the city of Newark, and it's really kind of gone unrecognized because you know, Muslims, we try to be, you know, for the most part, when it comes to politics, you know, we've been kind of quiet, unassuming. We really don't get out. We don't do a whole lot of, you know, noise making, you know, and just really quiet. But to try to energize that Muslim base that I've been blessed to have as being part of the Muslim community, they really came out and showed a lot of love and support, and I just appreciate it. I really, really do. It's been a blessing. It's been a very long journey, but it's been such a blessing.
Yes, ma'am. Well, again, we are so happy for you and your family and all of those that supported you, your well wishers, you know, and even your detractors and those that have been adversarial and opposition. Because we know that opposition, we believe, is a gift that is ordained by God, you know, and we can't really know who and what we are fully without that opposition or without those opponents, you know. So we are very appreciative of you. Again, you are no stranger here to the Disciple Show. We thank you for your leadership. You know, this is just another facet or aspect of the service that you have rendered so well for the citizens of New Jersey. You know, I just want to ask you, you know, how does it feel? You said the moment is not lost on you, but just how does it feel? Is there any pressure, you know, in terms of quote unquote being the first Muslim elected? Is there any pressure? Are you feeling that pressure?
It's not really pressure. I know it's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of responsibility that comes along with being in any leadership position. But then when you have all that, you know, the first this, the first that, one thing, and I want to say, and I can never, ever thank God enough for my sister and now my council colleague, and I love saying that, I sing it like a song, Reverend Louise Scott-Rountree, because from the beginning, you know, she said, you know, sis, you know, make sure your skin is tough. People are going to come for you out of nowhere, you know, and people who I believed, you know, once upon a time we were family. I thought we were, you know, good. Even people who, you know, claimed to be Muslim, you know, one minute they were fine and the next minute they, you know, decided that I was going to be an enemy. And so that's really been the hardest part. I know that there's distractors. I know that there's people that's, you know, they, you know, are anti-administration or whatever, and they lump me in it. That wasn't the part that bothered me. The challenge that I've had is trying to wrap my mind around how people can create a false narrative and make you an enemy when nothing has occurred. But I've, you know, come to the understanding that that's not my issue nor my problem. It's nothing that I can do about it and solve it. I have to concentrate on the work that's at hand and serve my community to the best of my ability. That's it. That's my focus. That's my job. And everything else, you know, has to fall by the wayside because it's a hindrance and it's just meant to distract me from the work and from the goal. And so, so it's not so much pressure, but definitely a heightened sense of responsibility that I know that I have. And to just try to, my goal in life is not to embarrass myself, my parents, or my community, period. And so long as I do that, I think I'm doing okay.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I don't know if Reverend Roundtree, Sister Balena, if you have a question, or Sister Donna, I know you're here with us. I got another question, but
Hey, Sister Donna.
Give you all the opportunity to ask. Sister Donna or Reverend Roundtree, if you have any questions.
Councilwoman Bay, how was your first meeting?
My first meeting, where I was called the criminal and told that somebody was gonna file criminal charges against me in my very first meeting. Yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. Call me a criminal. I don't even so much as have a parking ticket. But again, but the good part of that is that, you know, God saw it too. So everything that is being thrown at me, everything that, you know, I hear, I see, God saw it too. He heard it too. And so I don't have to worry about taking care of it. But we've met so many people who have, come to us. We've been, starting to assist people. My team and I are very, front facing, very focused on the community. They're going to be at every council meeting. Something comes up regarding the Central Ward, we right on top of it. Let's meet with you. Let's talk solutions. Who do we need to call? Who do we need to contact? And it's really about just taking care of the community. And again, that's the focus. People have been very helpful, very supportive. Of course, you have a couple of people that just want to make noise and create political theater, but you give them their 15 minutes of fame. That's what they want. It's fine.
No, we have a song in the Christian world said, "My good days outweigh my bad days." So
Yeah.
just focus on those good days, and
Yes.
the work is, before you, and you already know that because you've been doing the work. So you just are going to continue it in this venue. So we wish you tremendous success, and as you lean on, all of those who you get to network with and everything, I'm sure that you will continue to find more blessings in this new opportunity for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we want to thank you, Donna, for your input and your well wishes to my colleague, my sister friend, the one and only Councilwoman of the Central Ward, Sister Amina Bay. We want to thank you for joining the disciples tonight, because I know sometimes we infiltrate your. Well, I know I do, because Minister Abdul-Haqq came on off the line.
Y'all
7 o'clock,
let
he
you start
gone.
off tonight. Okay. Okay.
7 o'clock, he be gone. But I normally hang around with Sister Donna. Sister Donna live tonight, but you're not going to take up the whole show. Not tonight. Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad is the minister for the nation,
Y'all,
representing my
y'all
true
letting Donna
minister,
on the
the
hook
Honorable
tonight.
Minister Louis Farrakhan. Yes, 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 yes. I think he just celebrated something too. Didn't he just have an anniversary and mother just had a birthday? Am I right, Sister
Yeah,
Amina?
that's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So we want
ma'am.
to wish them a happy anniversary and date of her birth. Never could we have imagined a seed out of the nation, because they say, with the Muslims, we say that God is the best of planners. Never did we know, but God knew. Allah is the best of planners, knew that we would be on All Politics Are Local tonight, celebrating Allah for the victory of our own Sister Amina Bay, seed of the one and only Mother Frederica Bay. Yes, Lord have mercy. And let's not leave our brother Bay. Let's not make his soul rest in power, because she
Yeah.
didn't do it by herself. But God
Yeah.
knows. Oh, that was a force to be reckoned with when those two came together. And Sister Frederica did. Oh, my Lord. Come on, Sister Amina. Now, you know, it's going to be some stuff. And let's not discount the fact that between the two of us, listen, sisters, we know give birth to nations, Sister
Yes.
Donna. And we know that if we give birth to nations, can you even imagine in your sanctified imagination what's getting ready to happen on this municipal council with the first Muslim sister being, listen, on the dais serving the people, but not just in that chambers? Because I tell people when they say that we are to legislate, yes, we are, but we also have to take care of those individuals outside of the chamber. So the work doesn't just stop there. I won't let nobody tell me I was elected just to make laws and vote on laws and vote on ordinances. That's not all I think our positions represent. We, first of all, we wouldn't be sitting in those seats if we didn't do some work outside of the chamber. That's number one. Folks don't just say, "Oh, I like you, so you should be sitting there," because the truth of the matter is there's some that are not very fond of us, and that's okay as well. We are so good with that. I tell her, I tell Sister Amina, and I tell everybody, the best thing you could do is know who you are. And
Yes.
this is the real truth. When you know who you are, things don't phase you professionally or politically on the other
Mm-hmm.
side of what people think or feel. You know why? Because if they got a problem, that's their problem. If you can help them solve it, fine. But when you are a winner, you have nothing to worry about.
Mm.
But
There's
you know
no
what the thing is?
fear.
The the thing is, Reverend Rountree, your councilwoman, is just like you're saying, it's the people, and that's the thing that folks forget about, because they want to yell and scream about so many things. But our community, people in the community every day, they want to be seen and heard, and they want to know that somebody is advocating for them, that someone is saying,
Yes.
you know, hey,
Yes.
you know, Miss
Yes.
Jones on such and such number street, you know, she called about the lights out. They called
That's
about
right.
some illegal
That's right.
dumping. They want to know, you know, what's going on regarding rents and how they can get food because someone got laid off, and where are the jobs. And that's what they want, and that's what they need, and that's what they deserve. It's about quality of life. The thing is that we all want the same things. Everybody wants to live a decent quality of life, be able to make money, you know, live decently, and be able to enjoy their community with their family, and not feel threatened, and not feel, you know, put upon or burdened or ignored and overlooked. And that's all anybody wants: a good education for their children, stability and safety for their seniors. That's it. And
Mm,
so as elected officials, we have a responsibility to help provide that, or at least put them in touch to where it can be, you know, made a reality. That's it. That's
mm,
part of what we're supposed to do. And that, I think the touches that we have with the community, those personal touches, that face to face, that interaction, that is some of the most important work that you can do.
And guess what? It goes beyond that because we are not magicians. We
Hmm.
can't
mm,
we can't create magic. There's some issues that we might not even be able to get an answer for. But or watch this. Um, an acceptable answer. But you know what people accept? The fact that they watched you or know that you went every route to get them
Hmm.
the
Yeah,
assistance they needed,
that's
even
it.
if you ran into a brick wall. If they
Yeah.
know that, it's a difference than them
Hmm.
hearing you say, "Give me a minute, I'm gonna call somebody," and then they don't hear from you for a month or
Right.
two. Those type of issues, they call me the conference call. Everybody can't do that. After 20 years, I make a conference call in a minute. You know, but it's important. It's imperative for people to feel. What's that saying? Um, People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
mhm,
Hmm.
You can have every alphabet behind your name. You can have the whole alphabet behind your name, but it doesn't matter if what's inside your heart when you call yourself a public. There are people with no degrees that are servants at heart that people,
Yes.
and that's from the pulpit to the pew, from the masjid to Mecca to wherever. It is something that people need to feel that you care. And those that come for folk that say they don't care don't really know the definition of what care is. So when
mm,
you come in, you want to attack somebody and say you're not doing nothing for the people. Well, maybe you're so focused on what needs to be done for them, you don't see what is being done because you ain't doing nothing. I'm just saying. But and that can be a case. People so busy critiquing your movement, critiquing your actions, have so much to say about how you should do a thing. Well, if that's the way it should be done, baby, you got the book. Play it and go ahead and
mm,
do it. So that that'd be one less person in the 400,000 residents we have that we have to worry about. Sometimes folks come for folk, Amina, and it's okay. And you know what? I always say, out of all of the residents in the city of Newark, it's only 8 of us. It's only 8. And yes, we all have our responsibilities and our assignment. But the worst thing a person can do is have all the information on how to fix a thing, but ain't fixing nothing.
mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Reverend Roundtree.
I love you guys.
We love you also. So, Sister
Love
Amina,
you too.
what has been, I mean, up to this point, what has been the most challenging aspect of this transition that you are now making? We know you've been in in terms of public service and community work for a very long time. You watched your mother do it, your family do it, but what has been the most challenging in terms of this transition?
The most challenging, I think, is really trying to, so I'm still the executive director of Newark Emergency Services for Families. And I have, people sometimes conflate and confuse the two roles that I have. So they come to me with issues they come to me as a council person. I mean, it's been less than a week. Come to me as a council person, but talking about the things that will go through Newark Emergency Services and vice versa. People will show up at my Newark Emergency office and coming to me with things that should be coming to for the council. So trying to, make sure that I'm able to, navigate those two things. And so, getting, having my staff really being able to help me to do that, that's been a good thing. But because I've already been out in the community so much through Newark Emergency Services, through working with Newark Works Development Board, people are used to seeing me. They're used to knowing that I'm in the service capacity. So people just kind of come up, I'm in the line at the supermarket and somebody's coming up to me, so I'm in the shop, right? Anywhere I go, people now are coming up to me more and more with things. So just getting used to that. But the blessing again is being able to actually provide some assistance. When you're able to help people and help mitigate some issues, that is, some of the best feelings in the world, because you've helped people in real time. And it's something that's what the work is supposed to be about. It's not about somebody trying to amass personal power or doing things for personal gain, or, trying to, create some type of economic opportunity for themselves. Because some people do that, when they try to get in office. But you're able to move people's lives forward. Like I said before, I was a kid, on welfare when my parents, split up. And my mother tells the story all the time, so I'm not telling tales out of school. We were on welfare for a while. We were on Section 8. I know what it's like to be that kid sitting with your mother at the welfare office, sitting with your mother at the unemployment office, watching her worry, trying to figure out how she's going to make ends meet, working 2 and 3 jobs at the same time, but still never missing a PTA meeting. So I watched that in real time. And so that's what made me want to be an advocate in social service and public service, to make sure that no one gets treated the way my mother was treated, the way I saw my mother being treated, as if she was less than because she was temporarily in need. And then also to help make it easier for our people to get what they need and move their lives forward. It shouldn't be difficult. We have all of the resources in the world. So we have an opportunity to help people and we shouldn't make it difficult, create more obstacles for people. We should make it easier for them. So that's what I try to do.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know, Reverend Roundtree, or Sister Donna, if you have another question, or Sister Ali, if you have a question or a comment. But I know it's
I want to
6.
tell her congratulations.
Okay,
Congratulations. And your transparency is impeccable. And stay true to this thing, because you're definitely not new to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Sister
absolutely.
Donna, do you have another question? Because I got one more in terms of like a closing.
No, I think Councilwoman, you're onto a good start. People coming up to you in the shop, right? That means that they see something in you that you are like, there's my council person. And then I want to get a shout out to all of our everybody watching. Linda Lloyd gave you a shout out and said congratulations. Reverend Marquise, he gave you a shout out as well. So I know you're talking, but that's coming across the screen as well. But it seems like, listen, people see you, and as you said, being in this position and having first seat when your mom was going through it, what it is for people to be in need. So so that connection is real. So when people come up to you, they realize that, because it's a very humbling experience, that they're coming to you because they see that there's a person that I believe that can, if nothing else, can listen to me. And that means a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sister Donna. So Sister Amina, as we get ready to close, what is it that you want the citizens, particularly of the Central Ward, to know? In terms of, I know we got expectations, and sometimes, based on the severity of the need, the expectations maybe can be sometimes a little unrealistic, and that can create disappointment, in people because they see we got new leadership, but they may not necessarily know the ins and outs in terms of how things work, and so what are some of the things that you want, the citizens, particularly of the Central Ward, to know in terms of, what it's going to take, or just some pertinent things you want them to know as it relates to you now being a Central Ward councilwoman?
Well, one of the first things is that we're going to be holding a lot of different community meetings, and they're going to cover a lot of different things. One, of course, is the role and responsibilities of council people, because I think information gets a little lost and confused, and people, like Reverend Rountree was saying, sometimes people do expect you to be miracle workers. I've had somebody call me and ask me if I could get their supervisor fired. I'm just like, we can't do those things. But to know and understand that I'm clear that the Central Ward is made up of so many different people from different walks of life. We are all not the same. And so what is needed, downtown Newark is different than what's needed on Springfield Avenue, and it's different on Irvin Turner as it is in, on different streets. And so having these conversations to find out what the specific needs are and issues are in the different neighborhoods, and not treating it like a one size fits all, because it's not, and because there's been a void for so long. 18 months is a long time to go without representation. And so things have piled up. And it's just because that's just the way the system was, and the process, that's what it took. And so now we have a lot of catching up to do. So, we just want to make sure that the residents know that we're accessible, we're responsive, we're coming to you. We don't expect you to come to us. You can come to us, we are open, but we're coming to you. We're coming back to these businesses. We're coming back to the neighborhoods. We're coming back to the buildings. We're coming back to the blocks to make sure that we hear from you and address the issues one by one, block by block, to make sure that the Central Ward residents, business owners, stakeholders know and understand that they have a true advocate in City Hall, and that's Amina Bay.
Thank you so much, dear sister. It's 6:42. I know we're supposed to have the first lady of the city scheduled to come on. So I thank you so much, sister, for being with us. I don't know if there's anyone else that want to ask any questions or give any congratulatory remarks to our sister, Sister Donna, Reverend Rountree. I'm not sure. Brother Ed is still on. If there's anyone else that wants to,
Thank you. I just wanted to
congratulate
say
or
thank
any
you.
questions.
Thank you all. Just thank you for allowing me to be here and have these moments. Thank you, Brother Minister, Brother Ed. But thank you all, Sister Donna, everyone. Thank you.
And we appreciate you,
We
Sister
love you,
Amina.
and thank you for joining us on the Disciples tonight. The All Politics and Local, America's political number one hip hop show. We thank you and we love you, and I'm glad that I got you, and I'm glad God sent you. And we have our first lady coming on to talk about Winter Wonderland, but we kicked off our show with the winner, the one and only wonderful sister Amina Bay, and we're grateful. Any closing remarks, Sister Amina, before we move on? Is First Lady on? Does anybody see First Lady in the back?
I don't see her as of yet.
You don't
We
see it as
definitely
of yet?
we definitely want to have Sister
But
Amina back on, maybe in a few months, as
Oh,
she
yeah. Give us
begins
an
to
oh
update.
yes,
to right the full
We
definitely,
just
transition.
got an update from our technical. We have a couple more minutes to our next guest.
Okay,
Well, she
yes,
was
yes,
supposed to
ma'am.
be on at 6:30. We're
Right.
running a little behind.
well, just
So
So
to
can I?
just to say that, once you're waiting on First Lady, I plan on joining our First Lady tomorrow at the Newark Winter Village.
Yes.
She does phenomenal work making sure that she brings these wonderful activities to community Our first lady is one that is involved. She is caring. She is an entrepreneur. She is forward thinking. And I am so proud of her and the work that she's been doing. And we need to make sure that we bring our families out to support, to come out to Newark Winter Village and Mulberry Commons, right here in the heart of the Central Ward. Come downtown and bring the families and just come and just celebrate. Newark is alive with so many activities, and there's so much that's going on. And that's wonderful and that's uplifting. And we need to not let anyone paint this negative narrative about our city. Because if it was so terrible, people wouldn't be trying to do so much in it. They wouldn't be trying to take so much of it. We need to make sure that we protect our city. We protect our city. We protect the brand, the narrative, all of it.
And Councilwoman Bay, I don't know if you've seen, Dashay said congratulations, but she also said that people should reach out to you and invite you to their next tenant meet. There we go, block or tenant meeting.
Absolutely, and that's what we're saying. I went to Juma today, and I saw a sister. She invited me. She lives at 440, Washington Street. They want me to come to their next tennis meeting. Invite us to the tennis meeting. You can still reach us at www.Amina Bay for council. You can just email me at aminabay.org. And we will come to your tenant.
And you got a
meeting,
phone number called 973-733. Is it still 5870? I don't know.
Yes, yes, it is. I haven't committed that one to memory yet, but yes, that's the 5870-733-5870. That's the council office. We will come to your tennis meeting, your block association meeting. We want to be there and listen to you. So please, reach out.
Thank you so much, Sister Amina.
Good
We
evening,
appreciate you
Dashay. How you
tremendously.
doing, Linda? All you guys that have joined us today to hear the one and only Sister Amina Bay, Councilwoman of the Central Ward. Oh, I'm excited because I was the first one to have her on. We were the first ones, Minister Abdul, because I know they're going to be grabbing and grabbing. I say, but listen, just like she the first Muslim, we was the first to have her on the show. Come on, before CBS, NBC, CNN, and all the rest of them. We were the first.
That's right. That's right. So thank you so much, Sister Amina. I think I
Thank
seen
you.
First Lady Linda just
All
signed
right.
on. Thank you so much, Sister Amina. We
Thank
appreciate
you
you
so much, and
tremendously.
peace and love to my first lady.
We love
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
We
So I
love you
see
too.
Sister, there go our sister. Sister
There
Linda
she
is
go
on.
with her
Hey,
gorgeous,
Councilwoman.
beautiful
Good
self.
evening, First
You know,
Lady.
wait a minute, hold on.
That's
Now you
right.
know you got to say good evening, council women. Okay.
Oh, right.
Right. Excellent.
But
Excellent.
I knew
So
who you meant. I know you was excited about Sister Amina Bay being the councilwoman in the ward that you're doing this phenomenal Winter Wonderland. Before you talk about Winter Wonderland, I want to congratulate you on Forbes, baby. I told Congresswoman LaMonica, I said, look, they talking about Trenton. That looked like on her way to Washington to me. But come on, y'all can go ahead and talk about our First Lady, Minister Abdul Muhammad. I just call your whole name, Minister Abdul-Haqq
it's okay.
Muhammad,
It's okay,
and
sister.
and Lady Balena Ali. We've got the one and only wife of Mayor J. Baraka, Linda J. Baraka, and I'm turning it over to Minister Abdul-Haqq to add his little spin on her introduction as well. And yeah, but we got to congratulate her on that Forbes feast. If you didn't see it, go back and see it. It not only does she look fabulous, because she's not just beautiful, she is brilliant. And that will lead into whatever she wants to discuss tonight. But it's in your hands, Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad.
Well, I thank you again, Reverend Roundtree. That was an excellent introduction. We congratulated her, but we want to congratulate Forbes, that they had the honor and the privilege to be able to interview our sister.
That's
Those of us
right.
who are in the city of Newark, we're no stranger to her. My leader said, not behind every good man is a good woman, but beside every good man is a good woman. And sometimes in our case, in front. But we really appreciate our sister for her hard work, her dedication. Definitely, she has been very impactful in terms of helping out in the city of Newark, doing so many things here to help our beloved mayor, Baraka, and all that he's been doing. So we appreciate you tremendously, sister, and thank you for being with us. We know that we had you scheduled for a little before, but it's yours, dear sister, for anything that you desire to say at this particular time in terms of the Winter Wonderland and it happening tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. I feel like this is our annual conversation, right? Newark Winter Village, the opening day starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. It's free and open to the public. Please come down for the tree lighting at Mulberry Commons Park on Mulberry Street, directly across from Prudential Arena. There's going to be vendors, food trucks, ice skating, ice bumper cars, a lot of different things happening. This is going to be our 6th year of bringing Newark Winter Village to Mulberry Commons Park. And I'm just really excited about the growth that we're seeing, the support that we're getting. We have a holiday market featuring vendors that was sponsored by Invest Newark. I'm really happy that they decided to sign on and be a partner in that. Prudential Arena, New Jersey Devils has sponsored Santa's Workshop, which is sort of like a hospitality lodge for people to come in and get out of the cold. We'll be doing a lot of workshops and different activities with kids inside the Santa's Workshop. So I'm really excited about Winter Village this year. Tomorrow, again, is our opening day. It's from 4 to 8 p.m. at Mulberry Commons Park. And the Newark Winter Village will run through January 4th.
Yes,
And our
ma'am. Thank you
Christmas
so
tree
much.
lighting is tomorrow at 4. Is that correct?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The Christmas tree lighting is
Oh,
tomorrow at 4
absolutely.
p.m.
Absolutely. So part of it is the Christmas tree lighting.
That's a kickoff.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So, Sister Baraka, if I can ask a question, what has been the difference, I guess, this year since years prior? Like, what has been
Yeah.
the difference? Have you seen a tremendous difference in terms of participation and
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this year we're hoping that it's even bigger and better than it's been in the years prior. We always get a good amount of people to come down, but this year we're hoping to grow it even more. One of the big things that I'm really proud about is the different partners that have signed on to participate. Again, like I said, Invest Newark, they are presenting the holiday marketplace. And so we'll get to see handmade items, gift items from some small businesses based out of the city of Newark that they work directly with, and vendors across New Jersey who want to participate in Newark Winter Village. New Jersey Devils has signed on in a really, really big way to present the Santa's Workshop, which again is the hospitality lodge at Newark Winter Village. Newark City Parks is hosting the Fireside Lounge that we're going to have at the Winter Village, and then Newark Alliance Downtown Newark, they're doing downtown Newark for the holidays, which will feature all of the different activities that's lending itself to make Newark a holiday destination. So I'm really excited that all of the partners in our city are on board to making Newark this holiday destination, right? You don't have to take the train. You don't have to sit in traffic to go to New York City or neighboring towns. Everything
That's
that we need
right.
is right here in Newark, New Jersey.
Forget Rockefeller Center, baby. Come across from Presidential Arena and get it all. A whole lot more than you get than just looking at a tree. If you want to really see, you ain't got to just look at no tree. Just come on and be what Newark needs you to be. That's all.
That's right, that's right. Any questions, Sister Donna, or Reverend Roundtree for Sister Baraka in terms of the Winter Village, or you want
I
to talk
lost the
about the
sound.
Forbes?
I can't hear you guys.
The Forbes, they had the privilege of interviewing, our sister. We
Can you hear
congratulating
me?
her. But we can hear you, dear
Yeah,
sister.
she can't hear us.
Come back home.
Can you hear us?
Yeah,
Maybe
come back, go back and come back.
maybe she got to sign out and
Yeah,
sign
go
back
back
in.
and come back. Yeah.
Okay, so she
Yeah, that's
signed
what's
out.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and I, when she come back, what I want to say in terms of Sister Amina and the victory that I'm seeing, Sister Ali, yourself, Reverend Roundtree, Sister Donna. Things don't happen in a vacuum, and I just know that a lot of work has been done. Okay, our sister's back on. We'll say that for another time. But yeah, so any questions, Sister Donna, Sister Reverend Roundtree, in terms of our sister? We seen what she
You
said. She
can,
want to thank all of the partners. New Jersey Devils, and all of the other partners that have signed on to make this even bigger and even better than it has been in the previous years. So, any other? I have
No,
another question if y'all don't have one.
no, I was just gonna say why you don't have to get on the train to come to New York. It is accessible to use all transportation to get to you right here in Newark, correct?
Right,
Right,
right.
absolutely. We're right downtown Newark, so
Right. A
all
lot
modes of
of
transportation to get downtown, the train, the bus, drive, Uber, all of that.
Well, can I ask, sister, what was it like, being interviewed by Forbes in terms of, I guess, do you think that contributed to the interest as it relates to those that have come on to invest, or did they invest prior? Do you think that has contributed, or is that Forbes coming to interview you a sign and a signal of how big it is getting in terms of from the previous years?
I think in terms of our sponsors, they had definitely signed on prior to this Forbes interview. I think a lot of people believe in what we're doing in the city of Newark. They believe in Mayor Baraka's vision for the city of Newark. And so they see Newark Winter Village as just an extension of us trying to change the narrative around the city of Newark. Like I mentioned in the article, for a long time, Newark has had a bad rap, right? Like people are still thinking of Newark in the 90s, and we've progressed so much since then. And so the article just lends itself to help us spread the good news that we all know our city to be, and other people need to just get on board.
Mm, yes, ma'am. Any other comments or questions surrounding this?
yes, not surrounding the Winter Wonderland. Y'all got to know I'm moving, right?
We know that, sister.
You hear all that noise in the background? I can't. I take all politics and locally everywhere. Everywhere. We have been to churches, masjids, meetings, community events. They're honoring tonight Brother Tom Finch. He is very instrumental in bringing the Universal Circus to the city of Newark. He's being inducted into the East Orange Hall of Fame. And because we have a mayor, first lady, and all of you, we're universal. We're not just local. So that's where I am sitting in a hallway on the air tonight. But in reference to our leading lady, who is doing a magnificent job, a phenomenal job, knowing her place, being a mother, being a wife, and at the same time showing young women that you can do more while raising your children and taking care of your man and still have your own identity. The Afro Beats Festival is under her belt. And that's legacy, because if we go back and really know what's going on, knew what went on in history, we will know that her father was an intricate part. There's some people that did some of these things, but I am thankful that Linda Juma Baraka is carrying on in the 2025 era, a millennial of doing the things to carry on some of the most wonderful events. Now, the Winter Wonderland was her baby. I can't give nobody credit for none of that. Now I look around and everybody trying to do a Winter Wonderland. They ain't having no little fashion shows. This Winter Wonderland. Everybody using the theme Winter Wonderland, but can nobody do it? Nobody has done it, and nobody will do it the way it's being done here in the city of Newark. And at the same time, while they're doing the Winter Wonderland here, when we talk about transportation, we will get on the bus, we will get on the train, go to New York and walk around in all of that cold in the city of New York, when we have it right here in Newark, New Jersey, with our 400,000 residents having access to the little bumper cars. I think it's the little bumper cars that I tried to get in, and was, yeah, and the ice skating. I tried all of that. And I'm going to be there on Saturday, leading Lady Baraka, the leading lady, the female face of our city. Let me ask you a question, First Lady Baraka. What is the most exciting part of the Winter Wonderland event for you?
I think definitely getting to see the young people, the families, the couples. And in the past, we've had engagements on the ice. But for me, getting our young people introduced to ice
Yes.
skating here in the city of Newark We're right across from Prudential Arena, one of the highest grossing arenas on the East Coast, where the New Jersey Devils call home and the New York Sirens call home. And so I think it's only right that we introduce our young kids in the city of Newark to ice skating as a potential career in their future, right? They can come home and play right for the New Jersey Devils because they learned how to ice skate at Newark Winter Village. And so that's what I think about most.
That is phenomenal. And I knew for some reason, why did I think that that's what we would say? That to see the faces, to see the opportunities that these young children can come to Newark, that the young people can, right here in the city of Newark, the ice skating, the winter, just the beauty of the, not the holiday, just the beauty that the city can offer during the season. They don't have to sit home. They can come right on outside and come right on downtown, take Market Street all the way down, come across Mulberry Street, and be at one of the most spectacular holiday events and activities that could possibly be happening on the East Coast. And we have who we have to thank for it? The wonderful, beautiful wife of our own mayor, Baraka, the lovely and beautiful Linda Juma Baraka.
Thank you so much. And then again, like I say, I would really hope that our families in the city of Newark take advantage of the ice skating that we have. It's $10. It's one of the lowest price experiences in the area. And again, if you think about it, right, like we have the New Jersey Devils arena right across the street from us. And so we should begin to introduce our kids to ice skating as a potential career. When I think about the New Jersey Devils, I don't see so many faces that look like me, but yet it's right here in my
Right.
city. And so if our kids can get introduced to ice skating even as a hobby, as a career, as something that you take on as an extracurricular activity, we should begin to expose our children to everything and anything.
Okay. And First Lady,
Awesome.
did I hear you say you making romance happen down there too?
Oh, absolutely.
Engagements
We
on
have
ice?
literally had so many
Okay.
engagements on the ice. It's actually so beautiful.
It
It's so
is.
beautiful to see like the families that come and support the engagements, date nights, right? Like even if you don't have kids, it's still a cute date night for yourself.
Get your
We've
little
had people
igloo.
come and do like single solo dates there. It's Winter Village is really, really beautiful. Beautiful. If you haven't had the opportunity to see it in person, I would definitely suggest you come to opening night just to see what it looks like, even if you decide not to skate. But if you're scared to actually put on skates, that's why we have the bumper cars, right? And so bumper
Yes.
cars allows you to sit down and still experience the beauty of it all.
Which
So
leads
First
us
Lady,
into
I
our
see that
next.
y'all doing a lot of movies down in Newark. I can see a holiday movie around the Winter Village soon come.
Sure, I think
Okay.
that's like where we should go with it next, right? I love that idea. Somebody knock on
Soon come.
Netflix and what is the movie studio that they're building in the South for with NJ Pack?
Is it Lionsgate and all of them?
Right. Let
Okay.
them know. Let them know they have another
That's
potential
right.
space to shoot.
Okay.
Well, thank
All
you guys
right.
so much. I know you
Thank
guys
you.
have so
Thank
Listen,
much to
you.
listen,
talk
listen.
about.
Wait a minute. Now we have coming up. While we have our first lady on, we put back in the women's meetings. So I want to close with making sure that on December 8th, that we're inviting all the ladies to our, well, this isn't our third, this is probably our 33rd, but since first lady started with the business and the entrepreneurial and development platform for our ladies, she decided we would come together on December 8th and do a women's gathering from 6 to 7:30. So we're inviting you all to the William Mobile Ashby Community Center, 695 Bergen Street, where our leading lady, of course, is the leading lady for the city of Newark. We have two phenomenal speakers coming, and there'll be gifts for all the ladies. Another phenomenal initiative being spearheaded by our First Lady. So we look forward to seeing you Saturday, November 29th at Winter Village in Mulberry Commons. And every day, somebody from some family should be spreading the word to come on down to Mulberry Commons and join us for a fun filled. When you say there's anything to do in Newark, plenty to do in Newark. First Lady Baraka, Winter Wonderland, and all our partners, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Everybody have a good evening. I hope you
You
guys
as
had a good
well.
Thanksgiving last
Happy
night.
holidays. All right. So now it's 7:04, and we're moving into, where's Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad? Where are you? We're moving into our second hour, Lady Ali, where we were asked to do a tribute. And we know that two giants in ministry have been called from labor to reward. The one and only Bishop Reginald Jackson and the and Mildred Crump used to say, honorable is a characteristic. The Honorable Bishop Reginald Jackson and the Honorable Pastor Joe Albert Carter have been called from labor to reward, two individuals who have birthed so many sons and daughters. Um, New Hope Baptist Church, St. Matthew, Africa, Georgia. We can just, worldwide, universal. We have been blessed. The world was blessed by the birth of these two young men and what they poured into others. There's so many sons and daughters that have been birthed. Everybody's got a mute because I'm hearing feedback and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I definitely know it's not coming from my phone. So thank you. So those who are on tonight, um, we're going to, and those who have tuned in, there's no way, when Ed Riley said to dedicate this last hour, we're doing a 2 hour special on the disciples to talk about, and I thought it not robbery to call some people that had a relationship. Reached out to them I just reached out to them recently because at first I thought it was just a request for me to come on the show and talk about their ministry. But after speaking to Brother Ed, it's appropriate to me to bring people on, not to talk about, but to talk that knew him, walk with them, and had a relationship with them. I reached out to Dr. Johnny Green, the pastor of the Mount Nebo Church. I reached out to Reverend Vincent Rouse, Reverend Thursell Williams. There's some people that had relationship. Some folk knew these folk. Some folk really walked with these folk. Some folk just knew of them and heard about them. But the truth is, if you really, really, really want to hear about somebody, the real thing is to hear from someone that walked. It's a very sensitive time, a very shocking time a moment for some of those who walked with Pastor Joe Carter. It was a shock to some of those who walked with Bishop Reginald Jackson. Um, do we have anybody in the waiting room?
Councilwoman Roundtree.
Yes.
Councilwoman. While we're talking, I also
I
want
just
to
want to know
add
if
that
anybody's in the waiting room. Is that Dr. Johnny Green?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Who's the other guest? I can't see. Is that Pastor Rouse? I can't even see. And I got on glasses. That's because the light is so dark, wherever that other person is. Sorry, Donna, what was your question? Okay, I don't know what happened to Donna. Lady Ali, you still there?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so I invited Dr. Johnny Green and a few other ministers, as I was saying earlier, that walked with, talked with. You know how many people said they was friends of Dr. Ali, but the truth of the matter is, you really knew who the friends were, Balena. You knew
Come
that when
on
he
now. Say it.
transitioned,
Come
when he
on.
transitioned, everybody came out the
Say it.
woodwork talking about how they was
Say it.
his friend. But when he was going through,
Say it.
it was only a few of us that were there at the hospital every time he went in, because
Come
he went
on.
in a whole lot
Come
more
on.
than one time. Some folks would see you
Yes.
at the hospital praying, but never picked up the phone to
Yes.
say, you need a glass of water. So we know how these times work. We know, but
Come
my
on.
thing is, if somebody gonna come on here, it's gonna be somebody that really knew him, really talked to him, really walked with
Thank
him.
you.
And that's
Thank
why
you.
I reached out to Dr. Johnny Green and a few others. Dr. Green, I don't
Yes,
even
ma'am.
want
Councilwoman,
to, the pastor,
Councilwoman,
I was
Councilwoman
asking,
Roundtree, just before. just before Dr. Green speaks, I just wanted to let you know that Councilman Bill Holt also passed from East Orange. That's
Oh
what I was trying to say.
Lord.
Yeah, so
Oh,
go ahead. That's what I wanted to let you know.
oh.
Okay.
So we send condolences to Councilman's family. Oh my gosh. Uh, I think the mayor of Orange, I know he was an African American, 92-year-old. Did I read something about a Carmine somebody? I think earlier today.
Yeah, Councilman Carmine passed several years ago, but
Oh,
in this current conversation, it would be appropriate to talk about Councilman Holt and Donnie, and I'm sure Dr. Green knew Councilman Holt, and as we said, Bishop Jackson as well. So I just wanted to let you know so that we don't leave
well, this
anybody
is
out.
Dr. Johnny Green, pastor of the Mount Nebo. Mount Nebo. Now I could read a whole bio on this great man of God who is now pastoring in Harlem, but really pastors New York, New Jersey, and a whole lot of other places. But I'm going to turn it over to you, Dr. Green, to just give us a little background on you. And as we dedicate this program to the memory and the legacy, Donna, can you mute? The legacy and the memory of Bishop Reginald Jackson and the one and only Pastor Joe Carter.
Thank you, Councilwoman Roundtree, for having me on your show. I appreciate you. I've already appreciated you privately in my period of prayer, but I want to publicly appreciate you for all you do for me and our friendship down through the years. I am the senior pastor of Mount Nebo Baptist Church for the last 19 and a half years, but prior to going to Mount Nebo, I pastored New Zion Baptist Church in Elizabeth, New Jersey for 16 and a half years. It was during that time that I got to know Bishop Reginald Jackson through our activism work. As you know, I'm one of the national board members with the National Action Network. But prior to going to New York, I did a lot of activist work here in New Jersey, and always Bishop Reginald Jackson, who pastored in Orange, New Jersey, was always one that we looked to as our leader. He was a great preacher. He was a great humanitarian. He was a great activist, and he was just a inherently good person, a good brother, and I enjoyed working with him. And so it goes without saying that when word came that he had transitioned and gone upstairs, our hearts were stricken with grief. But on a different level, with Reverend Joe A. Carter, uh, I've known Joey Carter since he was 11 years old. I first met Pastor Carter as an 11-year-old. He would come to the Bishop College campus in Dallas. His brother, Ron Carter, was a very dear friend of mine. And we spent a lot of time hanging out in Ron's dorm. We spent a lot of time in the library together. And during the summer times, Joe would come to the campus, and he was a little old bitty thing, and he's always had preaching in him. And we would have him in the dorm rooms, and we would stand him up on boxes and crates and just let him go crazy preaching. And even as a little boy, even before he had officially preached, Joe would always be found around the house preaching till he broke out in mass sweats, etc. Fast forward, I'm pastoring in New Jersey at New Zion. I went there as a 26-year-old. I was a first-year student at Princeton, and shortly thereafter, uh, Dr. Roundtree, Reverend C.E. Thomas, the late Dr. C.E. Thomas, invited Pastor Carter to come on as his preaching assistant at the New Hope Church. Well, the first call Joe made when he got to town was me because of the relationship that I had with his brother who predeceased him. Ron and I, as I said, were very close. When Ron died, I went all the way with Joe to Oklahoma to bury Ron. And prior to that, Ron always depended on me to look after Joe. Joe saw me as his big brother, and that was until he died. We talked at least one or two times. You know, Joe had a strange calling habit. He'd call you late at night, and if you missed his call and called him right back, he didn't answer, and it may have been a day or two before he called you back. But we had so much to talk about, especially after I became chairman of the late night division of our National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, which Joe became known as a young preacher, the Reverend Dr. Jasper Williams of the Salem Church in Atlanta, Georgia, in June of 1994, presented Joe Carter at the National Baptist Congress Christian Education in Richmond, Virginia. On Monday night, there were three preachers slated that week. It was Reverend Joey Carter Monday night, Reverend Ralph Douglas West from Houston Church Without Walls on Tuesday night, and the chairman of late night, Dr. Jasper Williams. And I want you to know that Joe introduced himself to the nation in grand fashion. And from that night, and the reason I remember the day so well is because I came home from Richmond on Friday, and on Monday morning, my mother passed away. My beloved mother passed away at 57 years that Monday following the Congress. And one of the first persons that was at my house was my little brother, Joe Carter. And Joe and I have been together. We've been together through thick and thin. We've cried together. We prayed together. We've preached together across this country. One revival in particular, we used to preach the tent revival in Chicago, Illinois, at the Logos Baptist Assembly, where Reverend Dr. Don Parson is the senior pastor. And anybody who knows anything about the history of the tent revival at Logos know that's one of the biggest tent revivals in the country. And for several years, Dr. Parson would invite me and Joe. He would change out other preachers, but he would keep me and Joe slated. And so we would preach back to back in Chicago and in other places, Oklahoma City, simultaneous revivals in Columbus, Ohio, and you name it. You name the city. Joe and I have been there either together preaching, and we just, even outside the pulpit, we were together, and Joe liked to entertain in his house. He loved to entertain. I had a harder time getting him to come to my house, but he always thought I should go to his house. And he took pride and joy in me coming to his house. And he loved my wife, Jackie, to the moon and back. And we were so happy when he met and married Monica. And the last time he preached with me was for my anniversary banquet that was held at one of the big country clubs out in New Rochelle. And I posted pictures of that the other day. So let me just say that it's really difficult. I've been crying, I'm not going to lie. And I'm doing everything in my power to fight back the tears because people who know us know how close we were. And so right now, I'm literally, because I just lost another friend that was friend of both me and Pastor Carter, Bishop Kenneth Spears in Texas, who I met when we were 18-year-old freshmen in college. And so I was in Mississippi preaching for Dr. Kenneth Maurice Davis when my oldest son called me to tell me about Bishop Spears. And as I'm just barely balancing myself, trying to, pull myself out this funk, then I get the call that Joe answered the call and moved upstairs. And it was really rough on me, Reverend. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. It was really tough. My family went to Virginia for Thanksgiving. I couldn't go. I couldn't find it. I have not left the house since I got the word that Joe called. And my breakthrough came last night when I was on the phone with his two sisters, Mary and KK. Mary, aka Nail, and KK, who love me like they're one of their brothers. Mary shared some things with me, and shared with me the love that I already knew Joe had for me. And, I called her to console her, but she ended up consoling me. And she said something to me last night that just broke the ice of this moment of grief. She said, "You know what, Johnny?" She said, "Joe is looking down from heaven and he's laughing at us now." He said, "Look at how I got y'all. I got y'all this. I really got y'all this time." And she said, "I know he's laughing and cracking up at you and me and KK and Kim. Let me tell y'all something. Kim Wilson is the best. Next to my administrator, because I can't put anybody past Tish. But
Lord Jesus, she
Kim
sure
Wilson,
is.
I have never seen an administrator like Kim. That wasn't just Joe's administrator. That was
That's right.
another one of Joe's sisters and his best friend and confidant.
And his covering.
And
That's
he and
right.
you never know, and Monica didn't feel threatened by Kim because it wasn't that kind of party. And Monica loves Kim and loves Kim just as equally as Joe did. She loves Monica. And so I'm just thankful. I'm thankful Joe didn't suffer.
Yeah.
We know that he had some battles with health here recently. But I'm just glad that he didn't suffer. There was no long, extenuating circumstance of suffering.
Circumstances.
The Lord took him, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes.
Our loss is heaven's gain. Thank you, Rev, for letting me talk about my friend.
I really am grateful. I do this show once a month. We've been on now for I don't know how many years, 9 years. Every
Awesome.
fo- every fourth Friday. People ask me why don't I promote? Why don't I tell folk? You know, I'm going to start. I really miss our co-host, Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad, which is a representative of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
Councilwoman, he's here. Councilwoman, he's
Who?
I,
here.
yeah, I got back
Count.
on Reverend
Oh no,
Roundtree.
okay. Well, I'm telling
Okay.
the story.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
Minister
traveling
Abdul,
like you, Reverend Roundtree,
Minister
but I get
Abdul-Haqq
it.
Muhammad, myself, and Lady Ali. Lady Ali being the wife of the one Donald. That's got to be you. Can you mute, baby? The Lady Balena Ali, which is the wife of Brian Rashid Ali, which you knew him too, Dr.
Yes, I
Green.
did. Yes, I
And
did.
so he was our third co-host. And just watch this. There was folks vying for the position to be with me and Minister Abdul-Haq Muhammad to fill that space. Well, we didn't think nobody could have been done it better than his wife. Nobody was going to argue with that. Nobody,
Wow.
nobody was
Awesome.
going to say, well, why his wife? They might have said about anybody else. So we hurried up and sealed that deal. And she's on tonight. Minister Abdul-Haq
Awesome.
Muhammad, you had your relationship with Pastor Joe Carter as well when he did the Muslim Christian Basketball League, and he also was housed in New Hope for a minute with the Nation.
That's
So
right.
to hear Pastor Johnny Green talk about all of, listen, that's somebody who really, 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 really knew him. Do you want to talk to Dr. Green, Lady Ali, and Minister Abdullah Muhammad? Did I lose him again?
I'm here, Reverend Roundtree. I apologize. I'm going
All
mute,
right.
but I'm traveling as you typically are, uh, doing the work of the Lord
I'm
this
sitting in
sister.
a
But
hallway.
I just want to
With the
send my
back door.
condolences to the New Hope family, the parishioners, all of the supporters and well wishers, those that Pastor Carter, impacted and touched and influenced and motivated. Definitely as you shared, Reverend Roundtree, Pastor Carter definitely took Muhammad Mosque number 25 in at a time when we, were like Hagar, in the wilderness, traveling to and fro. He took us in and he cared for us. And definitely he was a friend. I consider him, and he mentored me. Gave me great lessons in terms of being in the ministry and his sojourn and his experiences, things to look out for. So I definitely am feeling the loss of our brother. But I was reminded by my leader and teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, of the book of Job, the first chapter, the 21st verse, where it talks about naked I came, from my mother's womb. Naked I came, and naked I shall return. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. We know that.
So while he's coming in and out, talking about Kim.
Sacrificed life emotionally,
Okay.
spiritually for the citizens of North New Jersey. So I thank God much for his life. I thank God much for his ministry. I'm praying again for his wife and for his family, and for all of those that he positively impacted and influenced. And I know that God definitely is great, and Reverend Carter was his servant, and he sought to call him back home. So I just wanted to say that, Reverend Roundtree, to all of our listeners, and praying that God will lift the burden of sorrow from our hearts as we grapple, with this loss.
Lady Ali.
I just want to say my condolences, Dr. Green. And I've been praying for Joe Carter's wife, because yes, I've been walking in those shoes for almost 2 years now. Come February 20th, 2025. My husband passed away February 20th, 2024. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because to church members, they just feel as though they lost a pastor. But to a wife, like I told my church on Sunday, I lost a best friend. I lost my pastor. I lost my teacher. I lost my lover. I lost my ride or die. So it's a bigger picture. But because I had to carry so much, and I told them, some days I might not say nothing, just ask me how I'm doing. If I don't pick up the phone, just call me back. I'm just going through my thing, because I miss they pastor, who was my husband, differently. So I moved differently. But not that I don't love them, but I move differently. So I'm really praying for his church and praying for his wife, and praying for you. I mean, it's good to hear that somebody knew Joe. Because like Reverend Roundtree said, a lot of people said they knew my husband, but there was nowhere to be found.
And I want to add something to that, because my relationship with your husband was one at a distance. We knew each other. We had mutual
Yes,
we
he
had
used to talk about
marriage
you.
we had mad respect for each other. It was a little different from the time Joe got the New Hope to the time that the Lord called him home. We were close. We were brothers. But I considered Ali as a brother. I knew I would keep up with Ali through Reverend Bartley. Reverend Bartley just always talked about Ali, and then I kept up with him through social media, because he was iconic, and he left an indelible imprint and impact on the hearts of the people of Newark. And I'm gonna say something: preachers like Ali and preachers like Joe Carter. I'm just gonna put this out there. They can get mad if they want to, but they are irreplaceable. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. They are irreplaceable. They're iconic. And Joe Carter, uh, could be considered, couldn't be, will be considered as one of the youngest legendary preachers in America, because Joe was literally known all over America. And people talk about how I travel every week. I'm going somewhere preaching across the country, and that's all well and good. It's my season, and I thank God for it. But please understand me that Joe Carter was the preeminent preacher, and Joe could have crisscrossed this country every week somewhere if he wanted to go. Joe got to a point where he just didn't want to go. He just burned out. He was tired. He had started so young, and he was crisscrossing. And then if you knew Joe didn't ride airplanes. Now I'll get on a plane in a minute. Joe would get on Amtrak, or he would literally get in the car. If he had to go to Chicago to see his family, Waukegan, uh, if he had to go to Oklahoma, he would literally get it. Or sometimes Joe would rent a Winnebago, one of those big Winnebago van, and he had 3 or 4 drivers, and they would just, and I'd be like, Joe, if he came, when he did come to the convention, Joe would never fly. He would either ride Amtrak, he would have somebody drive him, or he would get in a Winnebago. People who know him, they know that's how he moved. But let me just say that yes, I do get a lot of invitations, but Joe Carter was the premier preacher. And we had this running thing where when we preached together in Chicago, I would always tell Reverend Parson, do not put me on after Joe, put me on before Joe. And Joe would get mad. He said, every year you got me preaching behind Johnny. Let Johnny preach. I said, no, sir, I'm the oldest. I have seniority and rank on you. I'm going first. But that's just the kind of relationship I had with Joe Carter and with Reverend Ali. Reverend Ali was a great guy, and I love him and I miss him. And God knows I'm gonna miss Joe Carter. But I want to say one other thing Lady Ali said. You know, when churches die, I mean when pastors die, the church loses a pastor and a spiritual leader. But did you hear all of the different things that Lady Ali said she lost when Pastor Ali? And I bring that up because Pastor Keith Owens, who's another dear friend of mine, and Pastor Joe Carter, Keith knew Joe from the time he came. He passed away. He passed the Salem Baptist Church in Jersey City. 3 years, this time of the year, leading up to the right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, Keith passed away. Keith lived in Scotch Plain. Keith's family, his wife, who was Assistant Attorney General in New Jersey, and his daughter, who is a prosecutor, assistant prosecutor in Jersey, in Jersey City, and his son Miles, who works for the Garden, Madison Square Garden. They joined my church because we were friends. We were not just colleagues in ministry. We did everything together. 4th of July, Juneteenth, Christmas thing. They were either at our house or we were at their house. They were either in the summertime, every weekend we were either on their deck or they were on our deck. And so his wife and children joined Mount Nebo, and they drive from Scotch Plains to Harlem every Sunday. Miss Cheryl Graham, who's the widow of the late Dr. Isaac Graham, Macedonia Baptist Church, she joined Mount Nebo. I said, "Oh Lord, we're gonna have a church full of widow pastors' wives." But they do that because they know they can get ministered to. They know that my wife is going to treat them right, and they know that our church is going to embrace them. And I believe in sticking by my fallen comrades' family, because one day I'm not going to be here. Somebody said, Green, there was a young preacher, I'm not going to call his name, but Reverend Roundtree, you know this to be so. I was instrumental in him getting Christian love, and he messed it up. I'm just going to put that out there like it was. It was a total disappointment, but I took that boy like he was a son. I felt bad because he lost his father when he was young. And I always say that I want somebody to treat, even though my sons are grown and independent, I want people to treat my kids, because what happens
That's
is when
right.
people die, when the pastor die, people forget the pastor's family.
That's
And
right.
they'll treat them lovely while the pastor's
That's
alive.
right.
But when that preacher dies, listen,
It's
they move
over.
on,
It's
they move
over.
on, they forget about his wife, they forget about,
The
I don't care how
father,
many years of
the
service.
ministry.
Yeah,
You know who said that? Reverend T-Bow, God rest his soul. When he
yeah.
first came to Good Neighbor, somebody got on the was putting flyers on churches, I mean on cars. And the guy didn't know that Reverend T-Bow was a new pastor. He was a friend of my father's, he was a friend of my mother's. His name was Jenkins Holman. He used to do quartet stuff. He used to have a radio show. I mean, not radio show, record shop, Jenkins Holman. And he said, do you know who I am? And T-Bow said, no, tell me. But when T-Bow got in the pulpit, he let him slide, talk to him, let him know he was a pastor, and to ask for permission. But T-Bow in his sermon that Sunday said, I ran into someone in the park, and I never mentioned his name or any of that. He said, and the man asked me, do you know who I am? He said, it doesn't matter at some point who people are. He said, because I dare you to die. He said, I just dare you to die.
I dare you to
And it
die.
won't be long before whoever you were they forget.
I
That's
can't
right.
hear
And,
my.
and, and that's based on really who is carrying on. Like Jalil Marrow, who's now the pastor of New Psalmist, is carrying on the legacy in his own right. He's not Pastor Brian Rashid Ali, but the First Lady respects him. That they have, he respects her. The ministry is going forward, regardless of what the people think or feel. If God has positioned someone to carry on the legacy, these people will live on. The problem is with the individual you're talking about, they came in and said, and threw out the baby with the bathwater. Okay, instead of like holding on to some of that stuff, because some of that stuff was already built, which means
Yeah.
you can build on that. But
Yeah.
that's another conversation for another day. I know
Yeah.
I invited Pastor Dr. John Gamble to come on, which is also a son of Pastor Joe Carter. Did he arrive yet? There he is. Dr. Johnny Green, this is one of the babies. Welcome to All Politics Local, America's number one political hip hop radio show, where I've been co-hosting with Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad, and of course the late Brian Rashid Ali, pastor, is known as Pastor in the Hood. His wife is our co-host with our leader on this line, the three of us, Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad. And I've invited Pastor John Gamble because they asked for the second hour to be a tribute to these general, wonderful, phenomenal giants, Pastor Joe Carter, the Honorable Pastor Joe Carter, and the Honorable Bishop Reggie Jackson. As I stated earlier, if you're going to invite somebody to talk about somebody, let it be somebody that you know who walked with them. Like we know Matthew, we know that some of the disciples walked with Jesus and some did not, but they had a story to tell. The ones that walked with him, their stories are similar. Isn't that right, Pastor Gamble? They told us something. You got folks that they never walked with nobody, got stories, and all you can say is, nah, that ain't the way it was written, bruh. Somebody else was really there, and they know the true story. And that's
Mm.
Dr. Johnny Green, and then the son, one of the sons. Many sons and daughters were birthed out of New Hope after Pastor C.E. Thomas. And I do know that he set a strong, strong foundation. I see someone else. Who's that? Mama Zayid, is that you over there holding your head? Okay. We're going to turn it over and let Dr. Green and Dr. Gamble, pastor of the Smyrna Baptist Church, son of New Hope, son of Dr. Honorable Pastor Joe Carter, to please give his remarks, his introduction, and say whatever he'd like to say in reference to this tribute to the Honorable Pastor Joe Albert Carter.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Grace and peace to all of you. First of all, all love to you, Reverend Roundtree. But then I have to also just give a shout out and all respect to Dr. Johnny Green. Um, that is one of my mentors in ministry, and so I'm truly, I'm just humbled to be on tonight. First, let me say, you also mentioned Reverend John Tebout, so I have to also honor him. He is my father in ministry. Reverend Tebout licensed me to preach. Reverend Joey Carter ordained me in ministry. So to hear of his passing was literally like Groundhog's Day in terms of emotions and feelings. It's hard to lose people that have poured into your life and sown into your ministry and sown into you as a person. So we talk about Joe Carter. We're only a few years difference in age, but in terms of his breadth of ministry and everything that he poured into me through tough lessons, through challenges and fights, and times when we agreed, and times when he taught me things that I just didn't know, I had never experienced. He had done things in ministry that I that only dreamed of doing. Um, and just his and so he just had a love for me, a love for my family. um Joe Carter was just a good person, outside of just the amazingly gifted, talented, anointed preacher he was a friend to preachers, a friend, a brother. He showed us how to be brothers. He showed us how to navigate in ministry and the good and the not so good of it. Um so I just really felt like life, like a life gone way too soon, was snatched from us. Literally, I woke up to the news and haven't quite felt right since. I mean, to be honest with you, it's this is not easy. it's not easy. And I you know, I did what pastors do. We put on our facade, make sure we're good and that we're not emotional for our families and for those around, so that everything looks okay. But no, I'm not okay. I'm not okay with this. I mean, we've lost someone that we all loved, um, and who had so much more ministry and so much more to do. It would seem like to us, but you know, we submit to what God says, and God knows beyond what we know. God's ways are above our ways, thoughts above our thoughts. God's plan for our life is orchestrated well before we could figure it out. Um, so you know, I thank God that I've had opportunities to celebrate him in life, so that I don't have regrets in him passing, or things I haven't said, or things that the times I haven't said thank you. I've said them privately. I've said them publicly. Um, he supported me privately and publicly. He's anytime he told me, I remember just, I literally was talking about this maybe an hour or so ago. Um, there were times where he was like, John, Smyrna can't always fit everything you want to do. If you want to bring it to New Hope, just call me. Just say, like, um, even at the school that I work at, when we need to use the parking lot, I can make a phone call. Done. Like, just constantly, you know, giving of himself, being there for people. I'm going to miss him. I don't know, Rev, Dr. Green, is about the best I've got today. I think it just hits hard. I don't know really else what.
Let me just chime in. Let me chime in, Dr. Roundtree. Uh, John Gamble, Pastor John Gamble, is like a little brother of mine. I remember when he was with Rev T. Bow, and I believe it was John. Was it you? And did you ride? We were at the E.K. Bailey conference one time.
Yeah, you took me around and showed me. You literally showed me Texas. I didn't know Texas. If it wasn't for you, I had no clue.
And what's the other preacher's name that came out
Robert
of?
Clegg. Robert
Yeah,
Clegg.
Clegg. I had to go to.
Showed
I
you the
had to
praying
go.
land and the
I
praying
saw,
field.
because you know I'm from Dallas, and the E.K. Bailey conference guy. So John and Clegg was, and I had to go to Shreveport to see my aunt, and they drove me. They rode with me to Shreveport, but I took them with me because I wanted them to drive. And they got a chance to not only see Dallas, but they got a chance to see some of the historical churches in Shreveport, where some of the great pastors in our convention have pastored, and they got to eat at the Freeman and Harris soul food restaurant. We had a great day there. I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Pastor Gamble mentioned something about Reverend Carter. I want to say this. Joe Carter was a preacher's preacher. Everybody's not a preacher's preacher. You know, there's some preachers who are just good at their own church. They do well, but you
That's
take them
right.
outside of that environment, they flop. Joe was a preacher's preacher, and we loved it. I have a great story I want to tell. In the early '90s, around the mid '90s, Reverend Jerry Henry pastor. Many of you may pass the Shiloh Church
Yeah.
in Plainfield, and Shiloh Plainfield was one of the leading black churches in New Jersey then. And so when Pastor Jerry Henry died, he was close friends with Dr. C. Thomas and Ben Whipper, and Thomas recommended that they hear Joe, and Ben Whipper recommended that they hear me. And so people don't know this, but it literally almost got to a point where the decision came down between me and Joe Carter becoming the next pastor at Shiloh. And so Thomas, being the guy full of wisdom, Joe was living in the New Hope apartments there. I believe that's Bergen. Is that Bergen Street? New Hope Housing.
New Hope Village.
New Hope Village. Joe was living in
West
New Hope
Market.
Village. Yeah, West Market Street. And Tom called Joe. He said, "You call Johnny to come over here." And Reverend Thomas met me and Joe at his apartment. and he set us down. He said to us in vintage Tom language, he said, now, Joe, you and Johnny are best of friends. He said, I don't know which one of y'all gonna get called to Shiloh, but one of y'all are gonna get called. He said, and I don't want to be no animosity between y'all. And me and Joe just bust out laughing because we really were not trying. Joe was looking forward to staying at New Hope and being with Thomas. And I was having a wonderful ministry at New Zion at the time. They just literally asked me to come preaching when I went to preach. They wanted me to candidate. So I just said, well, I don't have anything to lose. I'm not trying to leave New Zion at the time. But eventually they went another way. They called Gerald Thomas, and then I ended up going to my, and Joe and I, we laughed about that all. I'm still speaking in the president, though he's still with us, but we would crack up about that. We just had so much fun. It was just great. And I don't know anybody who was happier for me, Pastor Gamble and others on the line, after Dr. Boise Kimber named me chairman of late night in the National Baptist Convention. Because if you know the convention, there are two coveted positions in that convention, and that's the office of the presidency and the office of the chairman of late night. And I did not candidate for it. I didn't jockey for it. It came to me, and it just says, and Joe was so excited. And every time it came time for the first year when we got ready to go to session, Joe wanted to know before everybody else who I was going to put on the and I said, Joe, I'm only going to tell you, I don't want this to get out. And he would keep that no matter what. And he knew before I presented the flyer last week, Joe knew who were going to be the late night preachers in Jacksonville. And it never failed. Whenever we were on the phone, he would always say, hold on, I'm gonna call Jasper in Jasper. And he's, Jasper, I got Johnny on the phone. And we just all bust out laughing. And Jasper, if he wanted to talk, he would talk to us. If he did, one time he was at his club. He's a member of this private club in Atlanta. He said, Joe, this is you and Johnny. He said, listen, I'm at my club. Can I call y'all back? And he said, okay, bye, and hung the phone up. And me and Joe would just crack up because Jasper, we both look up to Jasper, and Jasper is honored that I'm walking in, not in his shoes, not in his footsteps, but in his legacy as chairman of late night. But
Yes.
that's
Yes.
because of my brother Joe Carter, the support that he gave me and the love that he showed me.
So, Pastor Green and Pastor Gamble, thank you guys for being here so much. And we send our love and condolences. I'm born in Orange and raised in Orange, so knew Bishop Jackson very well. I'm a member of St. James, so of course I know Reverend Carter as well. So our community for Essex County, this is and as I said earlier, Pastor Green, we also found out that we lost Councilman Holt of East Orange.
Yeah.
So this is Essex County is mourning. Essex, and
How about the state is mourning, the country is mourning? When Pastor Joe Carter, when they got the word, Donna, when people just thought they were calling all night long. When I tell you, Dr. Green and the mayor, and some other folk that was calling my phone, at least one of them. And
Yeah.
they were, because nobody, and watch this, one of the persons that called me knew, because they got a call from someone that had to be telling the truth. But it was such a shock that I don't think nobody wanted to believe it was
They
real
don't
news.
believe it.
They didn't want to believe it. I said to one of the people when we talked around 2 o'clock in the morning, I said, if that person called you, did you think, that it was the truth?
Yeah.
That it was a fact. Ain't nobody calling with no fake news like that. I remember when
No.
Reverend Ron
No.
passed. Somebody
Yeah.
called me a year before he passed, about 6 o'clock in the morning, and said, I heard Reverend Ron is sick. And did he pass? And I called Fletcher. Fletcher said, no, I just talked to him. But a year later, I got the same call.
Yeah.
When I got the same call, it was true. Because when I called Fletcher, he was crazy. That's why I knew. Because no, and I didn't, if I did know, what people have to understand, Dr. Green, is I'm not channel 12 and I'm not channel 7. I'm not in blood related to Dr. Carter, nor was I a actual disciple. Can you close that door, ma'am? Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm actually literally sitting in the hallway of an event. Uh, but yeah, so it would not be my privilege to give someone's personal, private information of something so delicate and sensitive just to say I knew or didn't know. Either way, and I pray that post that you put, with Bishop Jackson, you didn't see nobody put nothing because didn't nobody know nothing until the official announcement went up.
Right, right.
But
Let
here
me,
we
let me
are, and we just gotta know, gotta say something, gotta be the first to notify, not knowing who in the world this man was connected to has even been notified yet.
yes, yeah. I want to say something about Bishop Reginald Jackson. A lot of people don't understand that even though we are a different denominational affiliation, we preach the same gospel.
Yeah,
And Bishop Reginald Jackson is not only iconic and legendary and revered in the AME church, he is well revered and respected by Black Baptists across this
that's
country.
right.
Reverend Al Sharpton had mad respect for Reginald because Reginald could be equivalent to a freedom fighter. He wasn't scared.
Not at all.
I met Reginald Jackson in Trenton, New Jersey. I was with Reverend Calvin McKinney, who was a dear friend of Pastor Reginald Jackson. Calvin and Reginald were the leaders. Reginald led the AME, and Calvin McKinney led the General Baptist. And him and Greg Jackson, Calvin said, I want you to meet me in Trenton, New Jersey. We got a big event going on. We're going to have to do some protesting. And that was around 1992. And that was my first introduction to Bishop Reginald Jackson. Then when he became bishop, they required that the bishops go to Africa. And I saw Reggie and I said, I told him, I said, Reggie, I said, what is New Jersey gonna do without you?
That's
Because
right.
New Jersey lost is Africa's game, and they have to go. It's mandatory. And Reggie did his time in Africa, and he came back. And then, like Dr. William Wiley, who was my preaching professor at Princeton, I think Reggie was reassigned to the Episcopal district that covers Georgia. So, his impact is global. New Jersey is not just reeling, but Georgia's reeling. The nation is reeling. Essex County, man, and you mentioned Ron Christian. And Rev, you know how close I was to Ron. They called me, Ron, and Barley the Three Amigos because my child care center that I own, Agape Children's Academy, it was organized in Christian love. I bought the daycare from Franklin Greenaway.
Now
And
that's
then
going back some years too.
that
Because
is
I
going
remember
back to,
Franklin Greenaway from Hopewell.
yeah. So Greenaway had retired and the church was basically dead.
Yep.
And I carried the daycare. We paid all the bills. People don't know this. And so they wonder, how did I have so much influence with running with Christian love? Well, the daycare paid all the bills, all the utilities, not just for the daycare, but because the church didn't have
For the
no money.
church too.
And so I couldn't let the church go under
That's right.
because if I let the church, then my business would be lost. Now, we later relocated to 645 Chancellor Avenue, where we are now. But for years, up until about 3 years ago, we operated a full functioning pre-K 3, pre-K 4 center in Christian love. And so I had when Ron passed away, Ron passed away at 5 o'clock in the morning. At least that's when it was announced or discovered. He was discovered in his office. But at 3 o'clock the day before, we were sitting in my little cubby office. If you come in that side door of Christian Love, as you get ready to go down the stairs, there's an office to the left. That used to be my office as director of the Agape Children Academy. And Ron sat there in that office with me, and he said to me, "This is true. These are true words." Ron said to me, he was clean. He had just walked out of the shower, face was shining. He had on a fresh pair of blue jeans and cowboy boots and a button-down shirt. That was his thing, you know. And he said, "Johnny, I'm getting ready to go away." And there's an eyewitness. My nephew will tell you word by word what I'm telling you right now. He said to me, he said, "I'm getting ready to go away." And I said, and you know, I didn't pull no punches because Ron was transparent. I said, "Where you going, to rehab?" And boy, Ron cussed me out. he said, "You always think I'm just a drug." I said, no, that's not what I think. I said, "I'm trying to figure out." And I said, "Well, where are you going, Ron?" And you know what he said to me? He said, "You will see." And I got up. He said, "But I'm going away." And I got up and I walked out the office and I went to get in my truck. I was driving. I had a black Suburban then, and Ron ran out to the truck. And he said, "See, you gonna miss me when I'm gone." He said, "You always running away. You don't have time for
Oh my
me." Da,
God.
da, 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 da. And he literally ran around to the passenger seat and jumped in the truck and prevented me from leaving. And I said, "Ron, I have to go." He said, "Okay, Johnny." He said, "You gonna miss me." This is what this guy said to me less than 24 hours before he died. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, my phone rang. My wife answered the phone. It was one of our teachers, Tracy, Chicago, who is best friends of Ron's daughter. And she was screaming and hollering. Jackie said, "Well, what's wrong, Tracy?" She said, "He's gone, Miss Jackie. He's gone." She said, "Who's gone?" She said, "Reverend Ron." And I just jumped straight up in the bed. I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Nobody didn't kill Ron, did?" Because you know, Ron was crazy. Ron would just go up to people and start talking to them. They would be
Yep.
strange, would
Yes.
say anything to him.
Picking up.
And I
Yep.
thought somebody had knocked him. I really thought somebody had
That
gotten him.
was him.
And they said, "Well, get to the church." And so as I'm arriving at the church, the Essex County Medical Examiner is taking runs, but you can imagine what that did to me. And all I could think about was this man saying to me, I'm getting ready to go away."
You're
And
gonna
listen,
miss me.
and you know what? They were saying, "How are we gonna pay for this funeral?" And if it's a lie, you can go up to Perry Funeral Home. Mr. Arnold will tell you. I stood for every dime of that funeral.
Jesus.
I stood
Come
for
on.
every. I said, I told Mr. Arnold, you can pick you. If I don't even know if Mr. Arnold's still alive, but
He's
you can
still
call.
alive. He's
You
still
call
running the
him right
funeral
now.
home.
At Reverend Roundtree, you can verify it. Don't
I
trust, but
love Mr.
verify.
Arnold.
You can call Mr. Arnold. I said, "Mr. Arnold, I don't care what this funeral costs." I said, "I'm gonna stand," because the church didn't really have the money.
Yeah.
They really didn't
No,
have
wait
the
a minute.
money.
Hold on. Hold on. I want to say this because, you know, Ron was a giver.
Yeah, he was a giver,
Ron would give. Now, Ron used to get money, and I ain't going to put it on blast
and he
publicly.
give it away.
People would give him bags of money, envelopes of money, offerings, and I would see him hand it off to people where I don't know whether he ever saw it again.
You saw it? That's true.
Here, go
I
put
saw it
this
do it with
up.
the
Here,
anniversary
go.
one night.
And I know when he left here, I'm just gonna leave that right there.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
this is what I want to say. So what happened was, I went to preach that morning at 8 o'clock because I had to be at Mount Lee. I couldn't miss. And Eugene Overstreet, and we raised
Oh,
money.
I remember.
And then the people, you remember that? And the people gave the money, and I said, "Okay, here's the check, Mr. Arnold. You do this." And he said, "Reverend Green, I'm gonna hold the check." He said, "And if they don't pay it, I'm gonna have to cash the check." I say,
Right.
"Well," I say, "You do whatever you have to do." But they did right by Ron, and they brought that money. and they paid that funeral. And Mr. Honor called me and said,
Let's
"Rev,
give
you can
Joe
come
D
through this."
some too, because Joe
Yeah,
D,
Joe D. Yep,
that's
Joe D
right.
came through. And it was just so that's what I mean, being there for these pastors and preachers,
Yep.
because I'm just sowing seeds because because one day I'm gonna be gone. And so I want somebody I've tried to put things in place for my family where they don't need nothing from anybody, but still I want people to treat them right
That's
because
right.
it's that
Yes.
pastor's
Yes.
family. And
That's right.
right now, New Hope is they're gonna grieve Joe. They're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
grieve Joe just like they did C. Thomas. But
That's
then
right.
there's gonna come a point when they're gonna declare the pulpit vacant. They're gonna go through the process.
Yes.
They're gonna call
Yep.
another preacher. And we don't
Yes.
know whether that preacher is gonna be pro Joe Carter or not, pro C. Thomas or not. Because these young preachers that are coming in these churches now,
Lord help us.
they act like there's no history. They
They
act
act
like
like
they're
they,
the
wait,
greatest
hold on.
thing.
Like
You
they
know?
started it, like there
Yeah,
was nothing before them, and there'll be nothing after. So they're
yeah,
living in the moment.
yeah.
Um, and that, let me tell you something. I think about these elder statesmen, and Joe was really 50. Pastor the Honorable Joe Carter was 55 years, but in that 55 years, you could almost put 110, because when you
Yeah.
look at someone like Dr. E.T. Bird, who has about 10 sons running around this city, not Lance, Tyrone Senator, Patrick Council, Feature, Johnny Caldwell. When you look at all of these, you look at some of the other pastors that have left children, John Tebow, Henry Clay. I don't want to start calling names, but I know one thing for so certain. I can sit up here on this call right now. There's a Reverend John Gamble that's on the call. There's a Vincent Rouse that came out of New York. Now, some of these were students and babies at C.E. Thomas, Dr. Thomas, and some were truly. John Gamble can tell you right now, if he's still on the line, a whole lineage of what Joe Carter did for him. Are you
Yeah.
still there? Because you posted on Facebook. You might as well tell
But
the people everything.
so Councilwoman, we're gonna have to have Pastor
Donna, let me
Gamble and
finish
Pastor Green
finish
because
what I'm doing. Because
okay.
let me finish what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to do my last announcement, and then we're going to move on.
Okay, because we just have people in the background. I've been waiting for half an
Are
hour.
there people that are on this call for Joe Carter and Bishop?
No, they've been because the times
Are
are
they
just
for the
mixed
next
up. That's
segment?
all.
Are they for
Next
the next
segment.
segment?
Right, but that times were mixed up, so they just been waiting
The
for a
next
long
segment.
time.
For the next
Okay.
segment.
Yeah,
My time
yeah.
wasn't mixed up. I had 2 hours.
No, okay.
Let me let Dr. Gamble give his testimony about what Joe Carter did just for him. And after that, I'll make my one announcement. And then you can go ahead and invite your guests into the next segment, and the disciples will
Mhm,
gracefully bow out and thank those who
mhm,
tuned in. It's back in your hands,
mhm.
Pastor Gamble.
Okay, I will be brief because I certainly don't want to. I'm one of many, so let me just say that. But again, just I mean, he's done, like I said, so much for us. So for myself particularly, he ordained me in the year 2000. He dedicated my oldest son, who that the emotion that I saw from my oldest son when I told him he passed was unbelievable. Like I said, he loved my kids, and my younger son is not happy, and and I had him while I was at Smyrna. Um, he married me. He installed me at Smyrna with the closing service being at New Hope. Um, it I don't like every part of my ministry journey, even some of my first major opportunities to preach on certain platforms and certain places were because Joe Carter um gave the thumbs up to that. So again, I owe him a lot. And I've never been ashamed to say that. I've been blessed between Dr. Tebow, Pastor Carter. I've really been blessed with amazing fathers in ministry, and then with big brothers like Dr. Green and others. God has really blessed me to really have people that have sown into me that I'm indebted for. So it's an honor to be on here and to pay tribute to Pastor Carter and all that he's done for me and my siblings in the gospel. There's so many of us that I can't even start naming.
So
Thank you, Pastor Gamble.
I want to thank you, Dr. John Gamble. I want to thank you, Dr. Green, for coming on our show, The Disciples, with myself, Minister Abdul-Haqq Muhammad, and the lady, Amina Ali. Um, the tribute that was done to them. There's a lot of things we can make time for, and some things we don't have time for. But we cannot redo a tribute, and I'm sure there will be. This is just one of many. But when Ed Riley asked me to bring individuals on to talk about these two giants in ministry to touch the lives, I know there's Reverend Thurston Williams, there's Lula Baker, there's so many, there's Keith Hawthorne, there's the Tinsley's, there's Leon Porter, there's so many that are going to be touched, but nobody more than his wife, First Lady Carter, and Kim Wilson, and all of those. There's Alicia Lane. There's so many folks that are going to be impacted by this transition. Jonathan, his nephew, they're kids he raised, kids that he would go in his pocket and take bundles of money out and just put it in their hand. I've seen it. I met Bertrand Bailey. I met some preachers because of Dr. Carter. Not even knowing I was going to meet him, just being in his presence, and they were there. And he was like, "You ever met?" And so I thank God, even though I don't have the relationship that many of you that you had, Dr. Green, but it wasn't supposed to be me. It was supposed to be you when he was 11 years old to meet him. I'm just thankful to God that he was in Newark, New Jersey, carrying on the legacy of his own under after Reverend Seton Thomas. God bless all of you once again too. Talents Dunlap, Dr. Baker, and all those who he is a part of their family. I guess you can hear the noise in the back now. Don't forget the women's meeting. Don't forget Winter Wonderland starting Saturday, November 29th. Watch my Facebook page for all of the upcoming events in the city of Newark. Winter Wonderland, November 29th, downtown Newark, Mulberry Commons. Don't go to Rockefeller Center. Come on downtown to Newark with First Lady Baraka. And then we will have our meeting for our women on December 8th. I'll just have everything on my social media page if you want to know what's going on. But if not, if you don't follow that, you surely will be able to follow All Politics Are Local, where Ed Riley is our producer. And we thank you all for tuning in to our special second half of our programming today. First half was our Councilwoman Amina Bay and First Lady Linda Baraka. Second half, the one and only phenomenal man of God, Dr. Johnny Green, and our own beloved baby brother and son of the ministry, Dr. Gamble. God bless you all. And thank you to the guests that are coming on. We know we're in your moment. Baba Zayid, you didn't say nothing this whole hour. I am just floored that you didn't say, excuse me, because you are Nat Turner phenomenon. And I just know that when these men of God came on, that you, and I'm supposed to be doing a presentation. Lord have mercy. So y'all pray for
You
me.
better go do your presentation before they start talking about you.
And,
And we
and
have
Huh?
Councilwoman
to be
Roundtree,
looking for 'em.
before your guests go, Dr. Johnny Green and Pastor Green and Pastor Gamble, this is a hip hop political show. Is there any artists, hip
What
hop,
is your favorite
um,
hip hop
that
artist?
you or individual that you listen to? And if not hip hop, who do you listen to when you're doing the work that you have to do with the people? Which individual or group artist do you listen to get you inspired to do the work that you have to do?
I am a lifelong fan of Tupac. I'm Tupac all and Biggie
Come on.
and
Okay,
Biggie, but
okay.
Tupac was my favorite rapper of all time.
Most famous cub of the Black
And
Panther Party.
and
Yeah,
clearly, and clearly, and
Yes.
clearly, I'm his little brother because Tupac is my favorite. I'm gonna go Pac all day, every day.
yeah,
All
Pac got
right. And Lady Balena, thank you both. Is there anything you have to say before you leave us, or are you hanging out for the rest of the show? Lady Balena, anything?
I can't hear him.
Oh,
She
you
may have
talking to
closed.
me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hello?
sweetie.
You the only
You got
lady.
any closing remarks for the
I would
disciples?
just, I would just like to tell Dr. Gamble it's okay not to be okay.
Oh,
thank
absolutely. Thank
yeah,
you.
that's wonderful to hear that.
Long live the Honorable Joe Albert Carter, and long live
Bishop.
our Bishop Reginald Jackson. The legacy of both of them will live as long as these men of God that are on the line and on the disciples and the women and the children that they've sowed into across this country. and out of this country universally. Their reach was way beyond Newark, East Orange, and Irvington. They reached throughout this entire world, was called all over the country to preach the gospel, and some out of the country. So we thank God that we knew them and that we will always remember them in our hearts. God bless you all, and thank you for tuning into the Disciples on this fourth Friday night. Looking forward to seeing you on the next fourth Friday night. All right, Lady Donna Williams, I'm turning it over to you. It's in your hands.
All right, everybody, be blessed. Zayid?
All right, y'all. And I'm sure that was quite a moment for everybody involved. To my guests who are coming on, and most of our first timers coming on. Friday is a segment that we call for the disciples. These are three clergy figures who are very much in our community, very much in our streets with us when we get in the streets. And they had some losses that they wanted to lift up today. So they had a special 2-hour segment that we kind of indirectly and unintentionally imposed on. So I just want to apologize on both sides of the equation. I also want to apologize to my guest because Jonathan told us to come on at 7. I said not 8, and he never answered because I knew there was a 2-hour discussion that was in the air. With the few minutes that we have left, I want everybody to know that we're coming to you live from I don't even know the name of the town that we're in Pennsylvania. But we just finished the first of 12 legs. The first of 12 legs, 12 days of what we're calling the long march for Mumia Abu-Jamal. And it takes on another kind of urgency too, not just because of what Mumia has been through, but also as they were lifting up losses from clergy in the church, we just lost an incredible imam who was one of our political prisoners. And he was a world-renowned figure in struggle. And I'm talking about none other than Imam Jamil Abdullah Al-Amin, formerly known as H. Rap Brown. And I have to say this, and I'm trying to, get my spirit together because we should not have lost Imam Jamil in the clutches of the state. I have been angry, very angry, and then really unable to express the kind of appreciation for the very round and full contribution that Imam Jamil made. And next week, I'm looking to have some guests on so we can really amplify just who he was in a way that can do him justice as best this platform can. So we're carrying a lot going into this march because, we have lost political prisoners in prison, and we shouldn't have. And we absolutely should not have lost him in prison. But where this last conversation actually helped me a bit, it was when you're talking about the Creator bringing you from this land to his land and removing you from suffering. We do know the Iron Man was mortally ill, terminally ill. That's why we're fighting so hard to try and clear his name so he could come home free and enjoy his last days. But how y'all handle that conversation about the relief and the mercy that the Creator showed to bring some others home, as you described, really kind of helped temper me for a minute. But Mumia is very ill. This march is necessary, and some other stuff is probably going to be necessary because these United States, all throughout the American prison system, Constitution says there'll be no cruel, inhuman, and unusual punishment. Nothing but a facade if you look at how elders are treated in prison. And don't let those elders be political like Imam Jamil was and like Mumia Abu-Jamal is. We're here to crutch that facade and pull the wool off of that violent white lie and try and save our elders and try and save and free Mumia Abu-Jamal. I should have with me, and I can only see my big head on the screen. I should have with me the great Lisa Davis of the Black is Back Coalition. I should have with me Karen Dinkins and Yusuf Abdat from Public Square Amplified. This would have been their first time on, but of course, Josie Gonzalez has always brought Public Square Amplified into our space. So I really wanted to give them, a chance to be a fresh voice, fresh faces for Public Square, and to give their own presentation, their own report, their own view from the field on what we did today and what we started today. And we're just getting started today. Lisa, by the way, was supposed to be with us a week or so ago because we were getting ready for her, going back to court for her, and her appeal is due. In fact, Lisa, let's start there because I don't see Karen and Yusef. We may have lost them. Before we go into your impression of the day and what we're doing, I want you to remind.
Okay, Zayid, there's Karen. There's Karen.
Karen, well, come on in, Karen. Good to have you. Stay right there, Queen. We got you. Stay. She went.
Wait, she just popped back out. Okay.
Yeah, she may be having some connection issues. I hope she can get in. Right.
Okay.
Karen, I really appreciate Karen coming in the way that she has. But Lisa, very quickly, when do we go back to court for you? And then let's pivot and talk about what we're doing on the Long March for Mumia. You're muted, Lisa. There you go.
I'm unmuted?
Yeah, you're
Can
unmuted.
you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. We go back to court December 12th at 2:00 p.m. and it's going to be in
December 12th.
Yes, it's going to be in Newark and at 2:00 p.m. And the judge is Joshua. I just had Joshua Hughes, I think is his last name. But it's 2:00 p.m. We will certainly be putting information out there, and it's going to be in Newark, 50 Market Street.
We will turn it up and we will turn out. You know how we get down.
Yes.
Lisa, tell us now. That I should say, as I'm introducing Lisa and Karen into the space, we had a presence. We had a very Jersey presence in this particular engagement today. Karen and Yusef were representing Public Square Amplified. Lisa's representing Blanchard's Back. One of the key architects of this was Steve Bernhardt and his wife VJ from the People's Organization for Progress. We had some folks here that were, and of course, Chairman Lawrence Ham was also very much. Lawrence Demo and I were out front. Larry Adams got involved. Larry Adams is one of who had all of our backs today. So there was a very real Jersey presence in this march, and we expect them to participate in all the ways that they can as we go through. So Lisa, give us your impression of this first day and why it was so important. And Karen, you jump in right behind her.
But also, I just want to shout out Sister Salima Hadid from New Jersey as well.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's right.
So we did have a very strong presence, and she kept the train doors open for me because I was running so late this morning. But I thought it was very powerful and very, very important. Mumia represents so much about everything that is wrong in this colonialist society, and he's also such a very strong figure. And it was just so powerful to be there and to basically, and especially under these times, to show that our voices will not be silenced, we will not be stopped, and to also bring attention to the issue, not just with his medical condition, but all of the kind of abuse that goes on behind the wall with, the deliberate the deliberate weaponizing of health issues as they do with people behind the wall. So that really gave the opportunity to raise that issue, but also to raise the issue of elder abuse as well too, because we have a lot of people, and especially political prisoners, who are, an aging population that is behind the wall. And yet this country is just so brutal and ruthless. They just brutalize them in whatever way they can, and especially Black and brown people, but probably even more Black people. So we have to say no, and we have to forge another way. We had a lot of youth there, and the youth were bringing an energy that was fire.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and they were not taking it. And it is imperative that we forge another way, because the way we have been going hasn't been working for us. I'm sorry, it just hasn't. We have to have new vision, forge another way, and then be strong enough to carry out that way. As you know, and I've talked about it so many times, I'm just against this voting lesser of two evils and Democrat or Republicans, and especially when the choices are so horrible. And we, as Black people, live the ramifications of those choices in ways that most other groups do not. So if we just look at the stats that I was looking at about what our life is like, what the stats show for Black people in New Jersey, we've got the worst of every stat. In fact, I'm going to be submitting a report around about that. I just looked at it a couple of days ago. So we must change. And for me, the fight for Mumia Abu-Jamal represents the importance of that change, and also the importance of freeing him. And Brother Zayid, I know you've talked several times about how our political prisoners, we should not be taking these losses with political prisoners, on the inside. And that kind of reflects how we have to make a shift in the work that we do. So I will say that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Melissa. I really, really appreciate it. And also want to lift up the fact that not only are you one of our strong, proud voices in the Black is Back Coalition, but you also out front on the question of health in the Black is Back Coalition, right? We are survivors in fighting a monstrous construct known as genocide. We better be self-determining about our health or they'll kill us. Straight up. Karen, jump in.
Okay.
And let me just say this. I feel terrible that we don't have you on screen because Karen looks like what we want to see in a Black woman who's a journalist on camera. Yeah, she's got that look, right? And just to have you in the space, and I hadn't seen Karen in years because she also has a cable show on her own. I hadn't seen her in years. I'm just glad to see you in that space. With what you bring to that space and working with the young people of Public Square Amplified. So as you come in, Karen, I want you to share your Public Square Amplified story as well as your view of what you saw today with us on the ground for Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. And it was a pleasure meeting you today, Lisa, and sharing your story with us in Public Square Amplified. Today was just an amazing day. I have to say that. Just to meet people who just had hearts for raising awareness about this subject as it relates to the medical care and human rights and about our aging prison population and how they are mistreated. And just to be able to be in that space and hear people talk about their stories and what brought them to the march. And like Lisa said, I was just very impressed to see so many races of people, so many ages of people all coming out with one purpose to bring awareness to these very important issues. And I was just very happy to be a part of it. And you're in Fort Washington. That's where you are.
Okay, thank you.
I had to look it up on my phone because I was like, where the heck am I? But yes.
Wait, so Fort Washington, Pennsylvania?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. That's where we are. Well, where we were. But I had just an awesome experience just talking to different people and finding out about their passions and their why. So
tell us about your why, your passion. What brought you to Public Square Amplified and to this, this is very challenging stuff. This is not easy to deal with.
Well, Josie is a friend of mine. And we have been talking for a while about working on stories together. And so she called me last week, KD, I need your help.
That's exactly how she talks.
And I was like, sure, Josie. I thought it would be something local, but she says, I need you to go to Philadelphia. And, Yusef and I, today was the first day that I met Yusef. And we just hopped in the van and we just came out and we spoke to people. And just really wanted to find out what motivates people. Why did they come out and do what they do? There was one lady that I had met, very interesting. She had just got back, I would say a few days ago, from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And she was tired and her body clock was all over the place. She said, I should be sleeping right now. But it was important for her to come out and to march and to lend her support to this idea. And I was also speaking with one of the organizers, Gian White, and to hear his story as how he's questioning, the norms that we have in place and asking, like, why is this happening? And he was very much involved in church. And he started questioning, well, this isn't really making sense to me. And why is this happening? So he was booted out of church.
Mm.
And so he was sharing the story, that he just has questions and he does not like the way things are going right now in the political arena. And he wants to be a part of the solution. And he said that when he was in church from a young age, he was organizing different things in church. So he said, you know what? Why don't I take the skills that I have and organize this walk? And so it was just a pleasure. And then speaking with the doctor, that is
his name is Dr. Ricardo Alvarez.
Mumia. Yes, he was powerful.
Incredible, man.
Yes, and being able to talk to him and him explaining how sick that Mumia actually is.
Well, and since you're right there,
yeah,
what have you learned about just how sick Mumia is, so folks can hear this from someone other than me all the time?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. He needs to have a surgery on his eyes, but he has congestive heart failure. He has hypertension. He has glaucoma and a few other things as well. But the overall situation is when you are aging in the prison system, that is someplace that you don't want to be because they do not do anything preventative. He said that he has diabetes and that could have been prevented, but they didn't give him the necessary care that he needs, and they want you to be extremely sick before they start treating you. And
that is very intentional.
Very intentional, very intentional. And so the way that you have to move the needle and get things done is to raise your voice and have people behind him making awareness about what is going on. And it's almost like shaming them into doing what they need to do and do right by these prisoners. He also said that after a certain age, you are no longer a criminal threat. So he's in his 70s. So why not release him from jail? And it's also interesting because I met with Noelle, and she is
Noelle Hanrahan of Prison Radio. Just for
yes
purposes. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I met with her, and she was really interesting as well because
she's brilliant and she's tough.
Yes, and she used a private eye.
Yes.
And so then she told me, she said, well, I just got my law degree about 4 years ago, and I'm no longer doing prison radio. I'm passing the baton. I'm going to concentrate full time on getting Mumia released. And she said, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. So That was my day. I had an awesome day. I did, just speaking with so many different people, and we're going to put the story together, and we're going to tell the story.
I told everybody, and you'll see it in the chat, to follow Public Square Amplify and at publicsq.org, and we can look forward to those stories. Let me just amplify several things that you said, and I'll walk backwards and forward. Noelle Hanrahan, what she has done with prison radio has become hugely important to the continuing of Mumia's work in a very real, firsthand, and literal sense. Mumia, as a young journalist, made his mark doing investigative journalism and also being an excellent commentating broadcaster. Because he's got this incredible voice, right, that distinguished him when he was quite young. And of course, he honed his craft as a journalist working for the Black Panther Party newspaper. Through prison radio, we have a place for Mumia's commentaries to live that can be shared out in other places. I mentioned to someone earlier in the day that I miss Sally O'Brien from WBAI, because Sally was the only broadcaster to open in her shows every week for decades. Mumia's voice, and that became a window from which a whole lot of people learned and heard Mumia's voice. I'm old enough to remember Mumia on All Things Considered through NPR back in the 80s.
Wow. Okay.
Commentator. Commentator, of course, that gave him the threshold to produce 7 books defying his captors and his jailers and continuing to do his work. In fact, we have a soft conversation here in this particular space about the possibility of us adopting those moments to begin to also share his commentaries the way Sally did also. Mumia is blessed to have an incredible people's doctor. I'm using the language of struggle when I say that. In Dr. Ricardo Alvarez. Dr. Ricardo Alvarez is West Coast based. And you saw him here. He's with us in this hotel tonight. He was on that Northwest all day, all the way from the West Coast, fully engaged with his patient, Mumia Abu Jamal, and fully engaged, understanding the strategic and enormous significance of his responsibility as a doctor with true public sense of the word. And then finally, the urgent character, what happened when we almost lost Mumia several times since he has come off death row. We found out about his diabetes because he went to a diabetic shock. He went to a diabetic coma and almost died. He had Hep C, right? They wouldn't give him treatment for his Hep C, so he now has cirrhosis of his liver. And of course, all those things that you added already. When his eyes started to fail, he was given a diagnosis for exactly what he needed. The measures are all treatable.
Right.
But he had to raise hell, and it took 9 months. 9 months. Long enough to have a baby. Right? 9 months for them to give him that first surgery on one eye that began to restore his sight, but the other should happen right away after that. It's just people so many probably do not understand just how horribly intentional is the medical neglect, the elder abuse that takes place in U.S. prisons. Stepping back, when Mumia had Hep C, they refused to give him the medication that was the treatment modality, and it was a Hep C spread in the prison and in that neighboring community. And then what was their logic? If we give it to this guy, we got to give it to everybody.
Right.
And didn't they end up having to give it to all the people?
Yes, because we had to go all the way into court and fight for that treatment. And it was one of the few places and times where we actually got a victory in court after almost 44 years. So that, our struggle is a long, arduous, protracted walk. And so we taking this long mark for Mumia to try and change the in terms of what's happening to him legally and medically, and hoping that it has a broader impact by exposing the intentional harm of the overseers of the American prison plantation system.
Right.
Right.
I just want to
Go ahead, Lisa.
say
I'm sorry.
I thought, oh, no problem. I thought I had heard, and you would know more about this than I would, but as a result of that fight with Mumia Abu-Jamal to make sure that he got proper medication to treat hepatitis C, that also opened the door and helped many other people who were
Exactly
also
right.
incarcerated,
Exactly
to get the proper care that they need. So that again speaks to the importance of Mumia Abu-Jamal, who has always said that this is not just about him or his life, but it speaks to the importance of Mumia Abu-Jamal and this struggle, because it exposes he's internationally known, and he is about the people, and what he goes through exposes and gives a platform to many of the very serious issues that many people who are also incarcerated are going through that might not have the reach and the voice that he does. Also, he delivered a powerful message to us. So he spoke to us today at the end of the march.
On Lisa's Facebook page. Tell us where you're at on Facebook, because you shared it out, and I'm going to try and put it in the chat. Go ahead, tell us.
I'm in there under DAYVUS and LEESA. So yes, I put my name phonetically how it sounds, but with Davis being the first name and Lisa the last, but DAYVUS and LEESA. Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Acting and sounding like a journalist when you did it. Loving that. Oh. See, struggle to teach you how to do a whole lot of things, you may not realize you're doing. And that was a very journalistic move. And Mumia would love that, Lisa. I'm going to say that and make it plain, right? Karen, what else you want to share about your impressions and what's next for Public Square Amplified?
Well, we are going to come back out on the final day, and we are going to film, and we are going to continue to tell the story. And that is where we are right now. Mm-hmm. We do have a few other stories brewing, and just want to highlight the struggles that people are having right now in terms of just living, with prices being so incredibly high. People are losing their jobs, and it's hard. You did?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. It's all part, they're casualties in war. I hate casualties, but it happens.
Yeah. And then, like, how are people surviving, and what are they doing? How are they changing their spending habits? And we want to talk about that, because maybe other people can glean some help and see what, people are doing. But we want to bring that into the forefront and discuss that. So that's going to be the next thing that we're going to do, because the prices are just going up. There's no end in sight. And people are out here struggling,
benefiting from that.
And Karen, that would be, if you come on, notify Zayid to talk about that subject more, to come on, because it's so, relevant. And when people are struggling, it kind of causes you to kind of put your head down and figure out how you're going to move forward.
Right.
And, and so when you hear, in one context, and, from the our federal government, the administration, about floating things in front of people's, whether it's a $2,000 check, or just keep telling people groceries are down, when that you go shopping and groceries are up. So all of these things, and to how, and even, the collective conversation about, we know that this was a big shopping day, and kind of get people to refocus that, the psychology of how people feel obligated to, and how people can kind of, recenter, to refocus on how they're spending their money, and to be quite frankly, not to spend when we don't have it to spend.
That's right. That's right. You know, maybe there are no Christmas toys, or maybe there's 1 or 2 Christmas toys, you know, because people have to make real decisions when they go to the grocery store. I know I'm not the only one. There are
Right.
other people out there that have to change their spending habits to make their money go longer, because you have to do more with less. So I want to talk about those type of things as a collective, and maybe we can glean some insight that other people are doing that might be able to help us.
Well, I know that
Karen,
they've been calling
let
for
me ask you. Go ahead, Sid. You go ahead. You go ahead,
a
sir.
mass blackout beginning, what was it, November 25th through December 5th, I think. So,
Right.
and a lot of people are seeming like they are going for that. And it's not just Black people talking about it, it's everybody talking about it.
And I saw that too. A lot of people are talking about it. So I'm very curious to see how it pans out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and two things very quickly. I just want to also appreciate, we just had 2 hours of clergy, just to put a spiritual spin on this. When we talk about the withholding of our dollars from our oppressors, that's the feminine principle.
Mm-hmm.
We remove ourselves from the domination of the day, right, and let you deal with what you need to deal with, so that what ain't right gets right, right. And we've had some epic stories about how and when we have dared to remove ourselves from our oppressors, and how they exploit us through our dollar. And the most epic, of course, is the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955 in 1956, 381 days of not getting on them segregated buses. We made them white folks, we gave them white folks a serious message without punching a single cracker in the face. Oh yeah. But Karen, I want to come back to you on this.
Ooh.
When you heard Mumia's voice today, was this your first time?
That was my absolute first time.
And what say you about what you heard?
Wow. I have to say that it was good putting a connection or a voice to what we were doing for that day. It was good to hear him in good spirits and just be so positive in such a dire situation. But you would have never known the weight that this man probably has on his shoulders, because he was so happy and so grateful for what we were doing. And it just kind of warmed my heart to be able to hear his voice. And it just brought everything together.
And why don't we have that voice with us in our community?
Yeah.
Why is he not on the airwaves?
Yeah.
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 Why?
And
why did that judge not give him his appeal when the evidence was sitting right in her black face? Right? Why? Why all those cases that have similar fact patterns that got people released and free, right? Why do we have this Mumia exceptionalism, as the great Philly journalist Lynn Washington described it for years? And Lynn Washington is the most long-standing Black journalist right here from Philadelphia to follow Mumia's case. He was with us this morning too. Right? I hope you got to meet him. If you didn't, I want to make sure that
I didn't,
because he's a legend in his own right, a great brother.
Okay. Lynn Washington,
professional, absolutely, absolutely. What else, y'all? Was other impressions? Lisa, what else would you say?
Well, I just want to say, and another reason why I also wanted to be here, because as you mentioned, Brother Zayid, the issue of Mumia's his health, but also it ties in with the issues of health and health disparities for our communities, for people who are outside the wall, quote unquote. And as we know that they want to cut back on all kinds of things, including things that can affect what they call healthcare, I just want to remind our people, I want Black people to really hone in on this and understand this.
Come on,
we come from the continent in which the first life forms arose. We also have the longest uninterrupted lineage on the planet that is found in Africa. And it's not by happenstance that happened. We had some of the first health systems, the first,
Absolutely.
and our knowledge. What the colonizer calls science is what they define as science. They have the power to sit here and to really look at something and say, no, this is proof, and what you know is not. And it's based on what they want it to be. We have to understand the knowledge that we had, the power that we come from, and what those our understanding and how we relate it to the earth, and understanding, that humans are earthlings, and what Africa gave to us. We've got to get back to that. I will tell you this much, and this was known, that when they had them healers on them plantations, many times the so-called overseer or the quote-unquote master, many times would want to go to the healer.
Yes.
Instead of going to what they call the doctor.
Make it
And
plain.
we still see that today, because I know, there's some things, certain forces will come after me if I talk about, but I know the things that I've seen and that I've experienced working with energy medicine and working with some of the natural herbs and things like that. And we have to reconnect with that, because, we're just losing too much. I want people to understand that the same system that gave us this brutal system of policing is the system that gave us the medical system. And it would explain why we have the worst of
industrial complex.
Yes, it would also explain why we have the worst of every statistic. I'll just close with this, since we're talking about New Jersey. During the time of COVID, and I mean, I took a certain approach to COVID. I never got that jab and have no regrets about it. But still, during the time of COVID, they were having mobile healthcare units. It was Dispatch Health that was providing mobile services for COVID. So if people felt they had COVID or whatever, mobile urgent care, they would come to people's homes. And they had this in Essex County. And you had to put in your zip code to see if they were serving your zip code and if they would come to your zip code. They did not come to black zip codes. I was putting in every black zip code that there was, Newark and all of that. Every Irvington, Orange, East Orange. They didn't come to black zip codes. The zip codes that they came to were white. Now, urgent care didn't just happen to just say, I want to come into Essex County and do this. They had to answer to certain people. They had to, I'm sure, go through certain avenues within the state. I'm sure they had to present a plan, and nobody could ask them what communities they were going to be serving. Yeah, the zip codes, they did not serve black zip codes.
Make it plain. Make it plain. Let me lean on some healing roots that I think are important, germane, in this conversation too. You heard me start this conversation talking about the loss of Imam Jamil El-Amin. We have an ongoing conversation about the loss of my big sister Asada Olugbala Shakur. One of her comrades who liberated her was none other than Dr. Mutulu Shakur, right? A kid from Queens who did not go to medical school in the sense that conventional doctors do, but he went to China with the Black Panther Party and saw the capacity of acupuncture to do so many things, from anesthesia to all of it, but honed in on the whole question of detoxifying our community as the state was dumping and facilitating the chemical warfare to take our people off the street. So we have our healing traditions of all kinds, from Imhotep to people forget about Bookman Dada. Bookman was a healer. From the Haitian Revolution, he was a healer. He was a healer to people like Dr. Mutulu Shakur, right? And in the end, just like in fighting against the prison state, prisoners have to become jailhouse lawyers just to fight their way through the system. We have to be just as self-determining about our health. And I salute my friends and family and comrades from the Cuban Revolution, because not only did they make that one of their supreme priorities, they have showed the world and embarrassed all of the northern world what medical sharing and responsibility looks like from a place of international human solidarity, right? Right on, y'all. Well, I guess as we begin to wind this segment down, Donna, why don't you ask the ritual question and go to Karen first because this is her first time with us.
Well, we have Rhino's not in the background, so I'm gonna ask Karen 2 questions. I listened to a radio show on Friday, Karen, and they were talking, and it was it's a professor who has a radio show. Her name is she's from Medgar Evers College. She's a lawyer. I just lost it, but she's on Urban View, and she was talking. She
Lori
does
Favors? Lori Favors.
Say it again. Larry Favors, right? Thank you. Yes, Larry Favors, and she maybe every month she does a call in from the elders of our community. And they were talking about and thinking about the economy, like you said, how did, like post Reconstruction, how did we in towns in South, Jim Crow and all of that era, how did we get along as a community? What were some of the things? And, several sharecroppers had called on who are still with us. And, they were talking about, how we relied on each other in terms of whether it was going next door to borrow a cup of sugar or, whatever the case would be, or if something, and how pivotal the church was. And if something urgent happened, like they would ring the bell at the church. But one of the things that was constantly said, that there was never, ever felt a need of nobody going without because everybody supported one another. And in your conversation, I just wanted to say that because they said that it wasn't kind of in terms of until, like post integration and times like that, where we became more separated and we begin to strive individually, and we had more struggles than we did when we had to work together. So yeah, I just wanted to say that to you because it was something, just listening to those elders talk about, at a time when they had so little that they had so much, in fact.
Right. But that's when they had community. There was community back then. And like you said, people are more individualistic now. But you felt like you weren't in it by yourself because Miss Johnson was next door and Miss Johnson could help.
That was my slave name, Miss Dinkins. My slave, I used to be a Johnson.
You did? You used to be a Johnson?
Never knew that.
Okay, all right, Mr. Johnson.
Might have been one of my aunts.
Yeah, but that is good that you brought that up because I think that's what it's all about. And if we could go back somehow, or maybe you can't go back, but build something new and something different, but all based on community and coming together.
Collective.
So think about as you go to that point, to the ritual question, of course, right? Is we were dealing with loss, right? There's 2 hours. Y'all were dealing with a lot of loss in this conversation. We're gonna deal with Imam Jamil next week, right? I want to also acknowledge that Viola Fletcher, 111 North American winters, who witnessed and barely survived the massacre of Black Wall Street, just left us for the land of the ancestors. And I'm trying to get the great Dr. Tiffany Crutcher to come on and talk about what that loss means to that reparation struggle. That particular, our folks in that little area in the middle of the country are involved in not one but 3 levels of reparation struggles, right? And that sister, and it was several of them that fought to hold on because they've been pushing that through the courts, trying to get some semblance of a victory while they were still here, because they represented the living face of just what happened, and they could not be denied on the facts and on the truth of went down, and that community. And we had communities like that where we took care of each other, and did not allow ourselves to be defined by the segregation and the terror that we faced because of this country so backwards and racist when it comes to race. So let's come back to them. So I just to amplify your points. Donna, come back to our ritual question.
Okay. And Karen, don't be a stranger. You know, we look forward to hearing more from you. With that being said, this is a hip hop political show. And we
Oh.
like to know, when you are doing the work that you do in the community, is there a hip hop artist, individual, or group, or whoever you're listening to that you, when you go out to do the work or get ready to do the work, who are you listening to?
I will tell you who I like to listen to, like when I'm feeling like down a little bit, or if I need some inspiration to get me going. I like Sounds of Blackness. And and in the midst of struggle, that song, I love that song. Keep you from.
Did y'all hear that? She can sing too.
Oh yeah, we got you on tape.
Yeah, I really that song. It does something to my spirit when I hear it. So Sounds of Blackness is really what I like.
They were a part of that generation that brought gospel music back into our more secular spaces without compromising the dignity of gospel music a bit, right?
Very well said. Yes, absolutely.
And Lisa, who are you listening to?
Well, okay, today I have another answer, a different answer, but Dead Prez, you know, of course, because these are the only people I know, but also I just have to go back in terms of my greatest inspiration came from Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. I mean, when I heard that, it just stirred so much in my soul as a young girl. And then also back during those times, you literally had artists just singing about the way things were, like Stevie Wonder and Frontline and all of these things. Their messages and their music were so political. And so that really helped to nurture me a lot.
They were the soundtrack of our times.
Yeah,
absolutely. And the song is optimistic. That's it. My Sounds
Optimistic.
That's right.
Optimistic. Yes. Well, we're winding down. So if you have an announcement, Karen, is there any announcement that you have?
No announcement right now.
What about your other show? How can we follow you?
I have a show called All Things Newark, and we are going to be airing a few shows coming up. It's Saturdays from 1:30 to 2, and it's just basically highlighting the positive aspects of Newark, because as we know, a lot of times everything negative is reported, but the show really taps into the spirit of people and overcoming obstacles and how they are able to achieve their goals despite, maybe coming from adverse situations. It's about the spirit of people and perseverance.
So folks want to see and check out All Things Newark. Where would they follow it at? Where would they find it?
Channel 19. Saturdays from 1:30 to 2.
Are you on YouTube also?
Yes, I am on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel where you can watch previous shows, and that's just YouTube All Things Newark.
And I can't remember how many years ago it's been, but it's been a few years.
It's been a few years, and we have a number of different shows on YouTube.
Yeah. I really appreciate it.
Like you said,
years ago.
Don't be a stranger.
These folks down, and you know what I'm talking about. These folks, everybody remembers, Nat Williams, right? Now in his 90s, right? Nat and I did a show on Karen. Did a show with Karen. This is probably close to a decade ago. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
And Mr. Williams is still a raging veteran for justice.
Love it.
I said that with you earlier. Yes. So
And
yes.
Lisa, do you have any announcements?
Well, what I do want to say, Brother Zayid, as you were talking about our elder, recent elder who transitioned, the last living survivor of the attack on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they never got reparations. They never got anything that they were due and entitled to. And I just want to let people know, because we have to look at how they will do things for one community and not for us. When they talk about the victims of the Nazi Holocaust getting reparations, they always talk about the urgency of the situation because of their aging population. They say that all the time. They say, this is why we need to do something now. We need to make sure they get it, and they get it. Black people, they let us just die out. My mother's generation, they've transitioned. Our mother and freedom fighter with Tulsa, Oklahoma, 111 years old. Nothing. And then Barack Obama comes out afterwards and be like, oh, we so appreciate her. He didn't do anything for her when he had the power to do it. We got to stop accepting this.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's all there is to it.
Yes,
got to stop voting for it. Got to stop accepting.
As we go out, when are we back in court with you again?
December 12th. It's going to be 50 Market Street in Newark and not in South Orange, Maplewood. And
you saw my reaction when you said December 12th, and it's for two reasons. One, it's the anniversary of the Howard Beach killing of Michael Griffith way back in 1986. And that led that we created at that point in New York City, started out as the December 12th Coalition. All these organizations in New York City protesting racial justice and racial violence and police brutality. That would morph into what became the December 12th movement. And my comrades, December 12th movement, you know, I shut the streets of New York down with unapologetically whenever we need to do that, you know. So I just thought it was profound that you go into court on a day that's got that kind of resonance in history.
Yeah.
Hope it leads to some justice for you, because we are going to court for your appeal because you didn't get justice in the lower court. We need to make that plain. So we got
to expose a whole lot of things going on. Like, why is it that the majority of people that get pulled into these courts in Maplewood and South Orange, which is predominantly white, why are they overwhelmingly Black?
Always.
They drive me in court for 5 times within a whole year.
Well, Lisa, we're going to leave it right there, and you're going to have to come back, and we're going to talk about that subject soon. The hour has come, and for me, I just want to close by remembering again, this has been a challenging week. The loss of Bishop Jackson, Reginald Jackson, former pastor of St. Matthew AME in Orange, New Jersey, who was serving in Atlanta. Pastor Joe Carter of New Hope Baptist Church on Sussex Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. Remember the Church of Sissy and Whitney Houston. And also, as I went on to say, that Councilman Bill Holt of the city of East Orange went on to glory as well. And in Orange, you may have heard on the news that there was a tragic fire yesterday where 2 siblings lost their lives saving their dad, who they did save, but they lost their life in doing so.
Did you know
no, I didn't know them. I know all the neighbors as well, and they lived on Mosswood Avenue. As of now, we don't know the needs of the family, but we will call out to the community if there is a clarion call for assistance. So we will keep you posted. And, you know, as my pastor put it on Thanksgiving Day, hug your loved ones a little tighter and just be in the presence as possible. And thank you for being with us this week. Zayid?
It's been a hell of a week, hell of a show. Lots going on. I want to thank our guests who are with us now. Karen Dinkins, Public Square Amplified and All Things Newark. My sister and the great Lisa Davis and the Black is Back Coalition. We're back in court for Lisa, as she already said, December 12th at what time, Lisa? 1 o'clock?
2 o'clock p.m.
2 o'clock. I need to
Yeah.
stand corrected. Downtown Newark for her, and we are marching. You know, the dates that we chose converge on the anniversary of the ordeal that put Mumia in the clutches of the state. Mumia walked into a bullet and on December 9th, 1981, and was framed for killing a Philadelphia police officer. 1981. So we are winding up this 12-day march on December 9th, 2025, where he is being mistreated at SEI Mahanoy, right? To bring some justice to him. So we look forward to y'all joining us next week. Same time, same place, same rhythm. All politics are indeed local, and we will see you in the whirlwind.
And all of our guests with the disciples as well. First Lady Baraka, the
You forgot, yes.
pastors,
I was laying it on you for that.
Councilwoman Day as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And so all of them as well. And Ed
Yeah.
Riley, you're back. Did you want to say anything, sir? We can't hear you.
He's muted.
Ed, we can't hear you.
No, I think you all said it all. I
Right
echo what you all said. We thank all of the guests that came on with the disciples. Of course, the new elected
Councilwoman Bay.
I keep calling her Congresswoman, you know.
All right, elevate people.
Speaking that in the faith, you know.
Okay.
But the new councilwoman, Amina Bay, and then of course we thank Roundtree. We thank the First Lady, Balena, Ali. And thank, of course, our brother Minister Haqq for coming on with the disciples, and we thank their guests. And of course, thank the First Lady for coming through. And she said the Winter Village opens tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
With the Christmas tree lighting, exactly.
So tomorrow at 4 o'clock, if you guys are around, make sure you get down, get some skating in, and bring your kids. It's going to be a festive event. And then of course we thank you and Zayid, you know, for coming through and you know, bringing that revolutionary fire for Mumia. We appreciate that, you know, for keeping us honest. And then of course, as my brother Zayid like to always say, you know, we'll catch you all again, but we'll catch you next Friday and we'll catch them in the whirlwind.
Yes, sir. You don't stop.
Thanks, Rafisa.
Rafisa Shahabuddin.
And that's right. Thank Rafisa.